The Pirate Journey of Arceus. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 376, Bear God and History. October 27th, 1505, sunny. Time always flies fast. Perona has grown up little by little. However, her hobbies are still different. She and Robin can talk to each other very well. They are very compatible on some topics. Halfway through writing, she rested her hand on her cheek and looked at Zeraora, who was exercising, and Perona, who was playing with a teddy bear. She and Zeraora got engaged half a year ago. Although the process was slow, life was sweet. In fact, the life of the fur tribe was not that complicated. If two people liked each other, they would call a few friends and get married under the witness of the reign of grace of the Elephant Lord. But she lived outside after all, and was much more bourgeois than the natives of Zal. In addition, Zeraora herself had no experience, and there were no experienced people in the beasts. In the end, there was only Quinn, who gave random advice, and Zoro, who was very romantic. In the end, it turned into this situation. They only got engaged after dating for several years. It can be said that they responded to the policy of late marriage. But even if it was an engagement, Onigashima helped them celebrate it well. This was the first couple in the beasts to establish a relationship. At that time, Kaido, who was drunk, promised to hold a wedding that was more lively than Charlotte Lin's tea party, so they were just engaged first. Arceus also made a guarantee for this. In a sense, Zeraora was his eldest son in this world. Zeraora and Perona made her feel like home, not the original home, but her own new home. At the engagement ceremony, she asked for some benefits for Perona and gave her Kumasi real life. It is no longer just a plush toy, but a wearing bear. Due to Perona's preference, it is still a yellow wearing bear of different colors. At this time, this wearing bear is playing with Perona in a friendly manner. It is not only a playmate, but also an excellent bodyguard. If this wearing bear was not created by Arceus, Setsuna would probably not dare to let it play with Perona. Although it looks like a cute teddy bear, the wearing bear is very dangerous, and its muscle strength can be called strange power. And just like cats and dogs, wagging their tails means different things. If the bear wears smiles and waves his arms, it is not a gesture of goodwill, but a threat. As a bear hugs are its specialty. It can even wrestle with Babanuki, and is now the strongest wrestling coach in Giuli Farm. If it weren't for the fact that there is no difference between a lumbar fracture and an ordinary fracture here, there would probably be a lot more disabled people. It is like it has inherited the memory of the teddy bear era. It is very friendly to Perona, and it listens to Zeraora and Setsuna very much, so Setsuna can rest assured to let it be a nanny. Perona has no power to resist the bear wares. Cuckoo, nay. For example, now, looking at the sunlight above his head, the bear wears is sure that it is time to take her home, so he puts her on his tail and takes her back. The bear wears has a strong control over its own power, and the bear wears also helped Perona do one thing. Because she couldn't get rid of the bear wear's arms, she accidentally realized the ability of the soul to leave the body and the spirit fruit. So sometimes the Perona you see may not be Perona, but just her soul. Wearing the appearance of a bear can be the biggest cover. After a few years, this pair of partners will surely bring enough surprises to the enemy, whether it is to protect Perona's body or to give a fatal blow when the enemy is passive. The loving embrace of the bear god is not something that ordinary people can withstand. Last time I promised Wanda to take her to Wano country to play. I'll go there in a few days. After stopping writing, she opened a new layer of drawers, and the other layer was already filled with diaries. On Ghost Island, the new generation is still carrying out their training. Hancock and others just borrowed the training equipment here. The 9 snakes have their own inherited training methods. The new warriors who can be selected to go out to sea naturally remember this training method. 3 years of slavery have not affected Hancock's strength. Now with such independent training, there is naturally no problem with strength. These training devices are specially designed for people of this age group. Although Hancock is older, there is not much difference in body size. Robin was still half finished, but she had a booklet in her hand. It was some data she had obtained after observing Pokemon over the years. The mysterious evolution aroused her curiosity, and so did some scholars in O'Hara. 5 years had made O'Hara's affairs gradually forgotten by the world, and some scholars also had the qualifications to enter the mainland of Wano country. They studied Pokemon during this time, and sometimes worked part-time as history teachers in Wano country. The beasts did not distort history much, but the result of the battle that night was thrown to the black shark hole snake. As for Kazuki Oden, they just told some things truthfully. For example, he threw his nanny out fiercely when he was 0 years old, started to go to red light districts at the age of 6, drank and fought with gamblers at the age of 8, was included in the gang blacklist at the age of 9, and was furious, and burned down the gang casino, and was arrested for violent injury. At the age of 10, he entered the quarry as a prisoner. At the age of 14, he modified the river course and caused a major flood, and at the age of 15, he set off the Harem rebellion in Wano country. In addition to the fact that changing the river course was a good deed, without Kazuki's identity, he should have died 800 times. After that, it was emphasized that he left Wano country irresponsibly and was deceived by Kirizumi Orochi. There is no need for artistic processing, and the image of a fool appears. Even Kazuki Oden's retainers can't refute these. Robin exercises while studying academics, and Asuka joins the ranks of exercise. Her target of sparring is Jack. At this time, Jack transformed into the beastman mode of the King Bronze Elephant, and stood in place to accept Asuka's attack. Not enough. Not enough strength. What are you hesitating about? You can't stab me at all. This is also Jack's classic training method of being beaten. He was injured to the point of using his ability. Cutting steel is a basic requirement, and Asuka is far from being able to do this now, so Jack can be the target with confidence. The Navy has not been idle in recent years. Newspapers often publicize the Navy's achievements, destroying a certain pirate group and saving a certain country. As for the way to save the country, a genius boy killed 500 hostages held by pirates, and then killed all the pirates, solving the problem cleanly. The rescue process was simpler than that of the Alpha Commando. If those soldiers had known the result, they would have joined the pirates on the spot. However, Kaido found something in the newspaper. I'm going out for a while, and I'll be back soon. Chapter 377 Ulti and Peggy 1. This issue of the newspaper is almost all about the heroic deeds of the Navy and the world government. Kaido was originally there to see the jokes. He wanted to see which weakling was defeated again. The sea is an era of fighting, and it is reasonable for the weak to be defeated. But this time he saw some special news. The news on the newspaper that Kaido put down happened to be a report that the Navy had severely damaged a pirate in the New World, and finally the pirate fled in a panic. After seeing that news, Kaido had a bad premonition. There was nothing else, but the person involved was an old acquaintance of his. When he first came to Wano country, he met his old comrade in arms, Mariah's father White. During the conversation with him, they mentioned a person's name Urant. Compared with White who fell into trouble in Wano country, Urant is doing much better than White. Although the bounty of more than 100 million is not outstanding in the New World, it is not very weak. After all, over 100 million is a threshold. Kaido tried to recruit him, but he refused. He did not join any pirate, and has been wandering in the no man's land of the New World. The G14 branch of the Navy has achieved significant results, and the alliance of pirates including Ulant has been disintegrated. This is the last newspaper Kaido saw. There are no exaggerated headlines. It just describes what happened at the time in a very realistic way. However, the pirate ship that escaped from the war made Kaido realize something. In the sky, Kaido, who turned into a blue dragon, was on his way. He knew the group of pirates. Betrayal among pirates was not uncommon. There were only a few pirate groups that could not rebel after the captain was defeated. And such pirates are often more difficult to deal with. Because compared with those pirates, such pirates have one more belief. Whether it is personal worship or personal charm, it is this factor that makes those pirates more difficult to deal with. After Rox died, the Rox pirates turned into bads and beasts, and scattered because they were not of the same mind from the beginning. Ulant's pirate group is okay, but even if there is no problem within the pirate group, Ulant is a member of the Pirate Alliance. The Pirate Alliance is even less trustworthy than the pirate group. The Pirate Alliance is an untrustworthy alliance full of more betrayals. There are very few pirates who have established absolute trust. The Red Earl, who has always been alone, is an example. He is somewhat wary of Charlotte Lindlin. Now the one who cooperates most deeply with him is Arceus. More than 10 years of getting along have made them fully trust each other. The damaged ship in the Navy newspaper is Ulan's pirate ship. When everyone is evenly matched, it is an alliance. Once this balance is broken, the alliance will become an annexation. He also knows where Ulan's territory is probably. This trip is for this matter. And Kaido's guess is not wrong. In a certain sea area in the New World, a fight between pirates is happening here. Ulan not only lost the battle, although he did not die on the spot, but he still died of serious injuries afterwards. Ulan's men have not done anything particularly excessive, but other pirate groups are different. The Ulan pirates without Ulan are a big piece of fat meat in their eyes. While they have not recovered, some pirate groups that have preserved their strength in the previous battle with the Navy began to take action. Hand over the treasure. Ulan must have hidden a lot of things. That's right, Ulan is dead. There's no need for you to continue working for him, right? Several groups of pirates temporarily united to exert pressure. Their pirate groups have not suffered too many blows, and it is difficult to tell the winner from each other, so they temporarily joined forces to divide Ulan's pirate group together. However, from their positions, it can be seen that these people are also wary of each other. You bastards, if you hadn't retreated in advance, the captain would not have been so seriously injured and died in battle. What nonsense are you talking about? Did Ulan lead you astray? Where does so much trust between pirates come from? You are too stupid. You dare to rush so far in the front. Bang, bang. 2 gunshots were heard suddenly, and the pirates who laughed at Ulan suddenly had 2 bloody holes in their chests. You are not allowed to insult the captain. You are courting death. A new round of battle was about to start. The remaining members of the Ulan pirates put up a fierce resistance, but their numerical disadvantage made their resistance seem extremely futile. In order to rob Ulan of what was left, they even moved out the cannons. This was to capture the stronghold that Ulan had dug in the mountain. Ulan was at least a regular army of the kingdom before, and was much better than those pirates who changed their careers halfway in digging positions. The bombardment of the cannons caused rocks to fall continuously, and in the room of the bunker, a burst of crying was heard continuously. A purple-haired boy with a fur hat and 2 small horns was crying, while covering the big bump on his head. A rock that had fallen earlier had left such a bump on his head. In front of him stood a girl with blue and pink hair, wearing a lace mask, holding a wooden stick full of nails in her hand, looking angrily at the door of the room. Don't be afraid, Ziope. No one can hurt you. I will protect you. She is Ulti. The one she calls Ziope is her biological brother, Peggy 1. The siblings are the remaining children of Ulan. Her words are to comfort Peggy 1 and herself. It is too early for her to say this, as she is only 5 years old. The sound of artillery outside seems to have stopped. This is not good news, because it means that the battle is over. Soon there is a sound of kicking the door outside. The seemingly solid door did not last long before it was kicked open. The pirates outside the door looked at the 2 children and the house with a dangerous smile. Boss, we found the 2 children of Ulan. They are the same as in the photo. I guess they can be sold at a high price. Ulan had previously shown off his children to others, which led to them being targeted today. The price of a cute little girl is never low, not to mention the characteristics of the horn. The rarer the thing, the more expensive it is. Ulti is not Yamato, and the rough stick is not Ken. Facing an adult pirate, she did not fulfill her promise to protect Page 1. After several attacks, she was trampled to the ground by the other party. Sister. He tried to attack the other party, but as a 3-year-old child, he seemed even more powerless. However, at this time, new screams came from outside. The pirates at the door thought that there was a fight outside because of the uneven distribution of the spoils, so he carried the siblings and walked out. When he came outside, he finally heard what they were shouting. It's Kaido. Kaido of beasts. Ah. A hot breath was exhaled, and several pirates gradually turned into charcoal in the flames. Although betrayal is not uncommon, even pirates must be righteous. Thunderous gossip. Ulti, like Mariah's surname, is a translation problem. If there are big objections, I will change it to Runty tomorrow. If there are no objections, I will use this transliteration. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 378, Stay away from Mizope. Why would such a monster appear here? Because they were weak. These pirates occupied a small piece of territory in the New World in the form of an alliance. They knew their level very well, so the territory they occupied was a little far from the territory of the 3 pirate emperors. It stands to reason that they should be at peace, but Kaido suddenly appeared here. The strongest creature in the world, Kaido without injury, the immortal dragon. This is the name left by Kaido's wandering around in these years. He will be defeated, but there is no wound on his body, and he is just like an indestructible cockroach. The abundant physical strength and flying ability make those people unable to keep him, even if they can defeat him, and Kaido is likely to come back again after a while after leaving. Because he never brings his subordinates and ships with him for his suicidal behavior, he often makes a big fuss and leaves. With his strength, without any worries, it is difficult for others to keep him if he wants to leave, and it is impossible for all places to have people with matching strength to guard. So many people are unwilling to provoke Kaido now. These pirates couldn't understand why they were attracted to Kaido when they stayed here honestly. A few minutes ago, these pirates dealt with the remnants of the Uland pirates. In fact, if Kaido had come a little later, these pirates would probably fight because of the uneven distribution of the spoils. But before they could fight, Kaido appeared in an extremely outrageous way. He could fly down by stepping on the flame cloud, but he chose to release his ability in midair and then directly played a high altitude bungee jump like a heavy bomb without a safety rope. This is what he discovered in the past battles. There are many powerful enemies in the New World. At least in this era of division, there are still many people who can take his blows without dying. And when those people climbed out of the deep pit he hit, the people around them would be shocked. So he came up with such a way to appear. While those people were still observing the inexplicably large pit on the island, Kaido had already climbed out of it. Who can tell me where Ulant is? Gurgle. A sound of swallowing saliva came out. Even if Kaido did nothing, just standing there had an invisible deterrent force, especially the big pit on the ground, which made him more deterrent. Ulant is dead. He was seriously injured in the battle with the navy. If he offended you, then you are too late. They didn't know that Ulant had a relationship with Kaido. After all, Ulant never mentioned it. If we talk about the relationship, Ulant was Kaido's old squad leader. Watching the soldiers under his command gradually become the strongest in the kingdom, become pirates, and gradually become legendary figures on the sea, Ulant's heart is still quite complicated. He refused Kaido's recruitment and chose this kind of pirate alliance. And those pirates didn't think that Ulant would know Kaido. In their opinion, if they didn't quickly hug his thighs with such a relationship, they would be fools. It's a pity that he died, but how come you are still alive? Kaido, who was still asking questions just now, suddenly turned his face and smashed the pirates in front of him. Boom. A huge cloud of dust obscured the view, but the dust dispersed again, and the number of pirates in front of Kaido suddenly decreased. Only the blood mixed with the soil could prove that they had existed. Kaido had seen the corpses with the Uland logo on the ground from the corner of his eye. It seemed that he was too late, and the rebellion had already occurred. It was a one-sided massacre. The previous battle between the navy and them was just a fleet led by a vice admiral of the headquarters. If these pirates were willing to fight, Uland could still retreat smoothly. But they didn't do that. Now facing Kaido, it doesn't matter whether they have the courage to resist or not. Everything they did seemed extremely futile in the face of Kaido. Whether it was a musket or a cannon, the only effect of hitting Kaido was to make him pat the dust, and if the position was good, he could even cough a little. People with cold weapons would be blown away by the wind, pressure caused by his casual swing of the stick, before they could get close. The hot breath he casually exhaled was a dimensionality reducing blow to the nearby pirates. The number of pirates active on the island was almost doubling, and the pirate who ran out of the Uland fortress also appeared in Kaido's sight. The horns on Ulti and Page 1's heads allowed him to lock onto each other's identities at a glance. Before the pirate could figure out what was happening, Kaido's tall figure appeared in front of him in a nearly teleporting manner, and his big hand directly pinched his head. With a little force, he couldn't help but howl in pain. The hands holding the siblings kept loosening, and instinctively wanted to pry Kaido's hands apart. Looking at the siblings falling to the ground, Kaido didn't catch them. Although Kaido came to find Uland's child, for him, it was enough for the child not to die, and it was normal for him to get injured. A few years ago, even if Yamato was about to fall off the ship, he wouldn't even blink an eye. This was the case with his own children, let alone these two. You are Uland's children, right? Looking at the tearful Page 1 and the vigilant Ulti, Kaido made a final statement. Well, you have the same look as that guy. My name is Kaido. From today on, you are trainees on my ship. As we all know, most of the trainees of pirates are the favorites of the group. Although they are young, most people will take care of them. Since Olga retired from the position of trainee, the favorites of the group of beasts have changed. Although they enjoy more resources, the things they have experienced are also terrifying enough. Looking at the pirate who kept hitting his fingers with the handle of the knife, Kaido impatiently threw him aside, then grabbed Ulti and Page 1, and flew directly into the sky. As he took off, countless thunderbolts began to hit the island. Boom. Boom. When he left here, the island had completely turned into scorched earth. On Onigashima, Yamato and others who were training on the roof were not very happy to see Kaido come back, but when he landed, Jack's expression changed, because he saw the existence of a boy who looked like a boy. At the age of 11, he has reached a stage of rapid physical development, and his height has recently approached 3 meters. In the past few days, since he came back, Kaido has also explained the situation to Ulti and his sister in a few words. With Ulti's death, Kaido's adoption is indeed a good thing for them. But as soon as Ulti landed, she saw a big man running towards her like a pervert, and there were signs that he was trying to pull off her brother's pants. Hey, stay away from my little pay. Chapter 379. What kind of weird pirate group are you? 11 years. Although there are not many memories of the first 2 years, but Jack's childhood is full of women. From the nanny and wet nurse Jigglypuff and Milky Can, the first Yamato and Mariah, and later Robin and Isuka. In the past 3 years, Perona and Hancock sisters, the environment of all girls sometimes makes him distressed, such as when the training is over, others go to the top floor Kaido bathroom together, but he can only go downstairs alone. Sanji may envy his life very much, but he has waited too long for this brother who comes to share the suffering with him. Yamato is a biological child and Arceus' favorite. Others do not say discrimination, but it is still a lot worse than the eldest lady. In terms of material, they and Jack are all raised in wealth, and the huge funds are enough for them to squander. Moreover, raising in poverty and raising in wealth itself refers not only to material, but also to spirit. Raising in poverty means letting children experience frustration from an early age, have more experience and exercise from an early age, learn to be independent and self-reliant, and have a tough and tenacious character. In terms of toughness, Jack has done it. After all, he is beaten by Kaido every day, and a weak mentality is easy to explode. However, he urgently needed a male companion of similar age, or younger than him. At this time, Peggy 1's appearance made him very happy. Although he was wearing a small hat, the short hair on the edge basically determined that he was a man. Jack just wanted to confirm it just in case. If he was wrong, he would be severely educated. He ignored this fact. But in Ulti's eyes, this was a big pervert. Now Jack's round body is gradually developing into muscles. Due to exercise, he only wears a set of pants most of the time, and there are some bandages on his upper body, which are scars left during training. This made him even more abnormal in Ulti's eyes. Although the broken mace had been thrown away, she still swung her fist at Jack. In terms of courage, she is very talented. For a serious brother control, touching her brother is a very serious matter, but Ulti naturally can't compare with the well-trained Jack, so he still let him see what he wanted to see. Your name is Ziope, right? I'm Jack. Don't be afraid. This is the Beast's pirates. I'll protect you from now on. Get out of here. Only I can call Ziope. You pervert. Stay away from him. What the hell is this place? Ulti caught Jack's attention. Although she was wearing a mask, her hair and voice proved that she was a girl. Another girl. Jack lost interest in an instant and continued to talk to page 1. However, this perverted behavior obviously scared page 1. He still broke free from Jack and hid behind Ulti. Although Ulti sometimes annoyed him, after Rulant's death, Ulti was the person he trusted the most. Jack, you're too anxious. This will scare people. Kaido's return suspended their training, and Mariah slowly came over. Her height was over 3 meters. Girls at this stage develop faster than boys. Looking at the two children brought back by Kaido, as the eldest sister in the group, her maternal aura seemed to burst out again. Don't worry, he's not a bad guy, he's just a little impatient. It would have been fine if she hadn't said that, but after she said it, Ulti felt something was wrong. Now she felt like she had gotten on the wrong boat, especially after hearing what Kaido said behind her. It looks like you guys are getting along well. Today's training is over. You guys should have a good chat. By the way, they haven't eaten for a while. Take them to the cafeteria. She didn't know how Kaido knew that they were getting along well, but Kaido's words instantly made Yamato energetic. Really, father? Are you serious? Kaido took the initiative to end the training. This kind of thing might not happen once a year, of course, but we have to make up for it tomorrow. Before Kaido finished speaking, when he just gave the answer, Yamato had already run away with his men. Before Ulti could figure out what was going on, she was suddenly caught by Yamato and took her to the direction of the stairs. At the same time, Jack also chose to follow Yamato with page 1. What kind of weird pirate group are you guys? Ulti, who was held by Yamato, tried to struggle, but it was useless. Yamato's height was not as exaggerated as Mariah and Jack, but he was also 1.7 meters tall, much taller than Ulti, who was just over 1 meter tall. Ulti couldn't use any strength in this position. Even if she used her head to hit Yamato, Yamato seemed to be just playing with her. Stop it, it's so itchy. Who is making trouble with you? Are you an infomaniac, white-haired? Put me down. My name is Yamato, not white-haired, and I'm not an infomaniac. What's your name? Ulti is wrong. Who is introducing themselves to you? The noisy voices of Ulti and Yamato gradually faded away, and page 1 was also held by Jack with a confused look on her face, and Mariah was still correcting Jack on some issues. Jack, this is not how you hold a child. Let me do it. No, just teach me how to hold it. Jack seemed determined to have a good relationship with page 1, and had no intention of letting go. Ziope, can I call you that? You are not allowed to call him Ziope. That's my exclusive name. Even though she was fighting with Yamato, Ulti did not ignore this place, but Jack still vaguely heard page 1 say his name. Robin and Isuka would not participate in the special training on the rooftop. At this time, they were still at the fitness equipment. The 3 Hancock sisters were with Olga, and Perona was waiting for Satsuna's grilled fish at the farm. Now it was still a long way from the regular meal time. Like those whose last class was physical education, they rushed into the restaurant first. In the familiar private room, Yamato and Jack put the 2 siblings down one after another, and Ulti checked page 1 at the first time, but to be honest, her so-called inspection should have caused more damage to page 1. What are you guys doing? Are you still pirates like this? The style of the Beast's pirates and the Ulant pirates was too different. At least Ulti had never seen so many people of similar age. I'm making friends with you guys. We'll be partners from now on. Please take care of me. Please take care of me, Ziope. Don't just agree to these weirdos. Chapter 380. Arrogance never retreats. Environment JPG. Ulti has already labeled Yamato and the others as weirdos. Jack, who stripped Peggy 1's pants, and Yamato, who was thick-skinned and thick-fleshed, were obviously abnormal in her eyes. Although Mariah has not yet shown any abnormal characteristics, in Ulti's opinion, someone who can get along so well with 2 perverts must be very abnormal. Although Tsundere is gradually withdrawing from the environment, she has inherited this character, and at the same time, she is still a brother control, so she is very wary of Jack, who has improper thoughts about Peggy 1. What a cute child. Do you want to drink something? Isn't your voice hoarse after shouting for so long? Ulti's performance may make some people feel uncomfortable, but it doesn't matter to Mariah or Yamato. One is full of maternal love, the other is naturally familiar, and the other is Jack, who has been waiting for his brother for many years. Just because Ulti is Peggy 1's sister, Jack doesn't think there is anything wrong with her. Mariah even has the mood to care about her. Not horse. Cough. Cough cough. Although she was dissatisfied with her mouth, she accidentally choked, and the stomachs of the two people also rumbled one after another without giving face. Kaido is a man who dares to feed wine to babies. It was a blessing from God that Yamato and Jack did not starve to death or get food poisoning when they were brought back by him. When they were brought back by Kaido, they ate the dry food left in the base. On the last day, there was basically nothing to eat, and Kaido did not mean to stop. He took them back to Onigashima directly. In the end, they made such a big fuss, and they were already hungry. It was that the people here were strong, and it was no problem to eat and drink immediately after being hungry for a long time. Otherwise the brother and sister would probably have problems. The cafeteria in Onigashima has always been a self-service system. As the aroma of food gradually came, Peggy 1 couldn't help it. Sister. Ziope, you have to have backbone. It's just a little food. If you eat it, you will definitely become weird. But she didn't say this convincingly. Although Peggy 1 didn't wear a mask now, Ulti had already had the habit of wearing a mask, and some wet marks could be seen through the mask. Okay, don't be shy. If you're hungry, you have to eat. The people brought back by Mr. Kaido himself will not have an easy life in the future. Mariah just felt that she was shy, so this time it was her turn to hold Ulti. Although she was still resisting, it can be seen from the degree of resistance that she was just pretending. Come on, Ziope, is there anything you want to eat? You are not allowed to call him Ziope. Damn it, don't you guys understand human language? This is a sign of intimacy. Jack is rarely so enthusiastic to people, but what should I call you? Little Ulti or Little T? Don't give me such a weird name. My name is Ulti. Got it. Then I will just call you by your name from now on. A naive tsundere can't get around Mariah. Maybe she can compete with Yamato, but she is still a little behind Mariah. With the development of time, there are more and more types of chefs on Onigashima. Foods from the 4 major seas and various countries can be seen here. Newly joined pirates will also tell the chefs how to cook some hometown dishes to see if they can taste the taste of their hometown. Meat is always the main theme, but Ulti and her brother seem to be very interested in starchy foods. Ulti's eyes are attracted by a machine that makes spiral potato towers, while page 1 is attracted by the freshly fried corn chips with a spicy cheese sauce. Yamato, have your tastes changed recently? Mariah hesitated slightly when looking at Yamato's food. Recently, Yamato's diet has changed a lot, and he has a great love for raw salmon. In front of her is a large plate of salmon tartar salad, as well as a pile of salmon sashimi and a pot of oden. These are all local foods of Wano country. They taste good, but the quantity is usually not enough to satisfy her. Try something new. It's actually quite delicious. Do you want to try it? Forget it, I'm not used to it. While Yamato was talking to Mariah, Jack was fighting with Ulti for the right to feed page 1. I'm his sister. I have to do this. You must be hungry too. Your mouth is watering. Go eat your own food first. I'll help you take care of your brother. Before they could come to an agreement, page 1 had already taken the food over, but the large bowl was a little unsteady, and when he was about to knock over the bowl and chopsticks, someone came to his aid. To be precise, it was a round hand, as several Jigglypuff eggs appeared here, causing Ulti and Jack to lose the opportunity. What are these? Lucky? Looking at the Jigglypuff eggs that appeared, Ulti felt more and more that she had come to a strange place. They are Chandler, Pokemon created by my godfather, and they are the most magical creatures in the world. Godfather? Do you have a godfather? Is he the same as that idiot Kaido? Sister, it's not nice to call Mr. Kaido like that. Ulti came to this conclusion when Kaido gave her the wine, as if it were water. She didn't say bad things behind his back, she said it in front of Kaido, and Kaido just laughed and didn't take it seriously at all. It's nothing. My father is indeed a fool, but you are not allowed to say bad things about my godfather. If Sister Shaina hears it, you will be in great trouble. Ulti didn't insist on saying anything. Tsundere is not stupid. When the other party directly said it was dangerous, she would not have to try it. After all, this pirate group is too weird. Her tolerance for hunger has reached a limit. Looking at the potato tower, that is almost cold, she took off her mask directly. She is not Kakashi next door. She still has a mask under her mask, and can even finish the food in front of her at the speed of light. Others pretend to be in a mask, but he can take off the mask, and change his hairstyle, so that others can't recognize him. Aren't you pretty? Why do you wear a mask? Wear it if you like it, isn't it okay? Ulti gave a very direct reason. Many people have their own original bodies, such as Luffy's supreme slippers, Frankie's shorts, Mingo's glasses, and Ulti's mask can also be counted as one. There is nothing special about the face under the mask, just a very beautiful ordinary girl. Hunger made her not in the mood to argue with others, and she started to eat the food in front of her directly, but at this time, a group of pirates supporting each other also walked in. The two pirates seemed to be arguing about something. The difference was that they had the numbers 41 and 40 on their prominent parts. Chapter 381, a new numberer. You are really good at this. Of course, just stay in your position. Don't be happy too soon. Your position of number 40 will be mine sooner or later. The numbers on their bodies are proof of their status within the beasts. They are the numberers in the beasts pirates now, and they are also the strongest people in the beasts pirates except for the 3 disasters and other big carders. Kaido has a plan for the top big bosses, but it is difficult to divide more gifters in detail. In the end, Arceus chose a simple number system. Those with the highest strength have the qualification to be numbered. The smaller the number, the stronger the strength, and the higher the status within the beasts. The way to determine the number is also very simple. Fight. Whoever wins the fight gets the number. Even if he becomes the numberer, others are also qualified to challenge. There is a fixed time for the replacement battle every month, and the winner can replace the loser. However, in order to reduce meaningless waste of time, the challenge of ordinary members must be limited to 10. Only those who have obtained the number of 91 to 100 are qualified to challenge 81 to 90. Once you get a single digit number, you will be qualified to challenge the big boss. As for the original complex names such as the Real Fight and the Flying Six, they were cancelled in the optimization of the beasts. Under the big boss are 101 numbered ones. Compared with the disasters as the Trident Blades, these carders are the ultimate cornerstone. The God of Grace and the Giver are their ways to gain power, and the number determines their own status. Of course, there are also special carders such as Shaina, Zerora, and Greninja. Although they have no numbers, and are not disasters, they are directly under Arceus, and have a status and strength that is no less than the 3 disasters and the single digit numbered ones. What are they talking about? 40 and 41. Numbers. Those people are the carders of the pirate group. Yamato explained to them what the number is. This time Ulti didn't say anything, but listened carefully. This style is like a real pirate group. The position changing battle is not over yet. Do you want to go and watch it this afternoon? Kaido gave them a holiday in advance, and Yamato planned to build a closer relationship with new friends, so he followed their wishes and made this suggestion. After eating, Yamato took them to the second floor of Onigashima, which was her observation deck. The first floor below was completely transformed into a huge martial arts arena, and now someone was fighting a new round of duels up there. Lotto. In the next round, number 16 Devego challenges number 4 Babanuki. Lotto. The game begins. Babanuki didn't have any opinion about his deputy challenging him. This was a very common thing in the beasts. The two of them used their abilities almost at the same time, and the arena had become a battle between the King of Leave and the Armored Warrior. In the end, Babanuki defended his position as the Chief Warden, and defeated Devego with a crushing blow. After all, his carapace was only 1 layer, and it didn't make much sense to face a brute force player like Babanuki. His characteristics are not without benefits. At least he chose to admit defeat before he was fatally injured. However, he was still sent to the Pokemon Center for a physical examination. In addition to these gods, the givers also competed for numbers. The dazzling abilities made Ulti unable to close her mouth. Fortunately, the mask prevented her from being discovered. For these people who are awfully proficient in domineering, but have limited talents, the influence of ability is very large. The top rankings are basically gods, and then the givers. There are very few people who do not have the ability to get a ranking by relying on their bodies alone. Because people with such abilities have long obtained special abilities by virtue of their military exploits, this kind of competition has increased the number of people in the cult of Arceus. There are people who successfully defend their positions, and naturally there are people who cannot keep their positions. At this time, it is time for Tutu Dog to appear. In addition to occasionally drawing some tattoos for Yamato, Tutu Dog's biggest role now is to leave them numbers. Tutu Dog's pigment does not fade, has many choices, and can be changed at will, which is most suitable for today's changing group of numberers. Do numbers determine status? Of course, but there are always some special cases. Watching the duels between those ability users and the words that numbers determine status, Ulti seemed to have some new ideas. When Kaido was about to arrive at Onigashima, he intentionally or unintentionally revealed a lot of information to the siblings. Kaido, Rotom said that you opened up permissions for newcomers. Ah, yes, Urant's children are always better. Let me remind you that the two transformed fruits are very powerful types. I know, but fruits are meant to be eaten by people. As long as they are human, they can eventually become stronger. Powerful abilities are important, but so is domineering. Things on Onigashima are not so easy to steal, not to mention the heavily guarded Onigashima now. Even the Onigashima in the original timeline is the same. If it weren't for Kaido's instructions, it wouldn't be so easy for them to get either Yamato's Great Mouth Shingid or Ulti's ancient species. Especially since Ulti and her brother were able to steal 2 fruits soon after they arrived here, and they were not punished, and they successfully climbed to the position of the Flying Six. This is almost impossible without Kaido's instruction. This is completely different from the 15,000 enemies who sneaked into Onigashima. Apart from anything else, if Kaido did not reveal the news, it would be a big project for Ulti to find out where the fruit is. This is even more so at this time. If Kaido did not give Ulti authority, and did not give her a hint on the way here, she would not be able to do this at all. As for why he did this, although he is the maker of the rules, and can change the rules at will, the rules within the pirate group must still be followed. He will increase the number of rewards according to his preferences, but he will not abolish them. Those who are capable of getting this thing will definitely get it, and the privileged will get something extra. Absolute fairness almost does not exist. When their own interests are not affected, most people can still tolerate others. You can give others more things, but you can't give away things that belong to me. Kaido's notification to Rotom naturally cannot be hidden from Arceus. After all, they are the creatures he created. Soon, Ulti and his sister got their own ID cards. They also lived in the big apartment, but when night fell, new conflicts arose. He is a boy, he should live in the same room with me. He is my brother. He must live with me. Chapter 380 to Kaido's little plan. Ulti and Jack had a new argument about where Page 1 lived. Page 1 was only 3 years old after all. According to his own wishes, he slept in the same room with Ulti for the time being. As they get older, this situation will gradually change. However, Page 1 fell asleep, but Ulti did not. In the middle of the night, she quietly walked out of the room. The Jigglypuff outside seemed to be sleeping soundly, but Ulti had no idea that these Jigglypuffs slept with one eye open and one eye closed. Even if Yamato talked in his sleep, they would wake up immediately. But now they turned a blind eye to Ulti. They also received advance instructions. Of course, in fact, Ulti's every move was under the surveillance of Kaido and Arceus. This is Onigashima today. Through Rotom, even if they do not leave the house and do not use the Haki of observation, they can control every corner of Onigashima. This little girl is good. She acted earlier than I thought. Kaido let Ulti know about this and deliberately let Yamato take them out to play. With Yamato's personality, it is impossible for him to miss the position changing battle of the numberers. He just wanted to see what choice Ulti would make in this situation. He has given the opportunity. This is the biggest chance for the siblings to get ahead of others at the starting point. If not, they will have to train slowly. Kaido estimated that Ulti would take action within a week, but he didn't expect her to take action on the first day. Although I have no objection to you doing this, it's not impossible to create a few more with similar abilities anyway, but are you sure they know how to get there? Huh. Yamato didn't take the siblings to the treasure room. Are you sure she can successfully find the location of the treasure room when she comes here for the first time? Kaido was silent. Onigashima is the home he built, and he is naturally very familiar with it, but as Arceus said, Ulti may not be able to find the way. I knew you would always forget something, Rotom. A Rotom flew over upon hearing that. Send a message to Olga and ask her to lead the way, but don't get caught. Through the friends and relatives developed by Ammonite, the beasts eavesdropped on the communications of the world government every day. Some secret information was obtained in this way, and those agents must have a large number of wiretapped Dendenmushi in their hands. White anti-wiretapped Dendenmushi are very rare, which means that Dendenmushi are not absolutely safe. So the beasts are popularizing the second communication tool, Rotom. Nowadays, almost all cards have Dendenmushi plus Rotom. Dendenmushi are used to deal with ordinary contacts, such as ordinary reports from the outside islands, and some secret action plans, such as the development of Tesoro. Secret troop movements have begun to rely on Rotom funds. Even if Dendenmushi turned the world upside down, they can't steal signals from Rotom. As for a certain Six Paths punk, if he himself developed a machine that records the radio waves emitted by a Rotom, he can only say that he is amazing. However, such top talents should not be fools, and they would not work for the world government wholeheartedly without leaving any backup. There are orders from above, and the people below run their legs off. Olga just lay down when she received a message from Rotom. Rotom phones can be set to do not disturb, but Arceus's orders have higher priority than their own settings. So Olga's Rotom floated directly in front of her and announced the task. Why do I have to go? Lotto, I don't know if Lotto should send a reply. No, I'll just go directly. She didn't complain about anything, but she didn't understand why she didn't need to go in person for such a small matter. After all, she was also a person who played the graduation set, but now she had to be the guide of the first level trumpet. Although it was for the purpose of secrecy and not to hurt the other party's self-esteem, it was still a bit of an exaggeration. However, this time she went out and discovered something special, such as what her father seemed to be doing secretly. As the only weakling among the cadres of Onigashima and the only one who didn't have any domineering power, Arcee certainly couldn't find Olga, who was invisible with illusion. Olga's daily routine is very regular, so he came out at this time, but Olga didn't pay too much attention to Arcee. He is over 200 years old, so he should know many things by himself. On the other side, as expected, Ulti got lost. Although Onigashima was not built into a maze, it was large enough. It took more than 10 minutes to walk from the bedroom to the bathroom, and she was still avoiding those who might see her, so her movements were very slow. When Olga found her, based on Rotom's surveillance, she had just found the stairs, and she walked the wrong way. This staircase led to the power room, not the treasure room. The only thing she could find was the electric beast. Under Olga's influence, Ulti found that the road in front of her seemed to have changed. What's going on? Why is there a dead end here? With the help of the living navigation, Ulti successfully found her destination and then took out her ID card. Let me think. What did that white-haired guy say? Oh, right. I need to swipe my card. Looking at the position of the access card, she jumped for a long time before successfully swiping her card, and Rotom also placed the prepared fruit directly in the front position according to the newly entered data. After looking around, Ulti didn't see anyone, so she grabbed 2 fruits and left the treasure room. Ziope, wake up. This is also one of the reasons why she insisted on living with Peggy 1. If she didn't do this, it would not be so easy to operate. Sister? Peggy 1 obviously didn't understand what was going on, but Ulti didn't let him ask at all and took out the 2 fruits directly. Ziope, hurry up and choose one to eat. What is this? What kind of devil fruit is that? You can get power by eating it. You can see that this is a pirate group that needs power. Without power, you will not have any status here. You choose first. The changes in the Uland pirates made her more aware of how important strength is, and she slightly misunderstood the competition mechanism within the beasts. After all, those people on the ring did not hold back at all. In the night, Peggy 1 could not see the appearance of the fruit, so she just picked one up at random. Quick, eat all of them, don't leave any. She just wanted to destroy the evidence. Sister, it's so disgusting. Just after taking a bite, Peggy 1's expression was almost distorted. Eat it even if it tastes bad. Be patient Ziope, this is all for the future. Then he pinched his nose and ate the fruit with skin and flesh. Chapter 383 There is love, but not much. There are many delicious things in the world. Due to the differences in human taste, the definition of delicious is different for everyone. Some foods even have two extremes, such as Houchchuinia cordata and coriander. People who like it can't do without it at every meal, but those who don't like it feel uncomfortable when they smell it. But the devil fruit is different. Although it smells fine, it is something that even a fool would find unpalatable. Extremely unpalatable is a common feature of devil fruits for everyone. Among all the known fruit ability users, Yamato is the only exception. Arceus took a lot of effort to specially transform the big mouth of the true god, so that she couldn't understand what the so-called unpalatable thing was. Cough cough cough, what a disgusting thing. After swallowing the last bite of the fruit, Ulti had a severe etching feeling, but she couldn't spit out anything. The fruit is just its external manifestation. As long as the first bite is swallowed, the power of the fruit will be quickly absorbed by the human body. Ziope, are you okay? I'm fine, but sister, why do you want to eat this? It's too disgusting. Wait a little longer, the changes should come soon. Most of the ability users will know the ability brought by the fruit, as long as they eat it. Bruxionieri fruit is probably an exception. After all, no one dares to try it casually, because it can only be triggered after dying once. The animal system is different. Even a child can quickly master the 3 basic changes after eating it. However, now these fruits are fantasy beasts, and it takes a lot of time to fully master the illusion power they bring. Ulti felt her ability first. There was a squirming under her skirt, and soon a green tail squeezed through the original clothes and slapped on the ground. Green scales wrapped around her body, and her palms turned into slender dragon claws with scarlet claws at the front. She was not much different from the swollen-headed dragon ability user in the original timeline in the human beast form. However, the connection between the upper and lower jaws formed 2 battle axes with a slight tilt of 30 degrees. The battle teeth that the double axe battle dragon is proud of have super destructive power, and the hard steel pillars can be easily split. The position where the sharp teeth extend is just the outer edge of her mask. Her mask is very special. It is not a head-mounted or ear-hanging type, but more like an absorption type mask. However, this ability is not so simple. Quinn has proved one thing with the potion, that is, the body structure of animal type ability users can change, so the ability of this double axe war dragon is somewhat special. A mysterious will made Ulti bring her arms close to her face, and then the pair of teeth fell off like assembled parts, and were adsorbed on the scales on the outside of her arms, to form 2 external axe blades. The fake Axe King, Axeman Manka, the real Axe King, Ulti. Whether using her head or hands, she can exert the power of this pair of war teeth. Although it seems a bit unscientific, referring to the use of a rotating bone plate by a triceratops as a helicopter rotor and the transformation of Quinn's brachiosaur snake, Ulti's changes are not surprising. At the same time as Ulti's changes, page 1's body began to expand. Black and purple fine scales are all over the body. If you don't look closely, you can't tell that these are scales. They look like shark skin when combined together. It looks smooth, but it can actually cause serious scratches to the enemy. Because of the different fruit prototypes, his land shark is much larger than Ulti's, especially when he changes to the beast form. So for the first time since he was born, his height has surpassed Ulti, and it is nearly 3 times. But the houses on Onigashima are big enough, so these are not a problem. Wow, Peggy, you've become so big, that's great. Looking at the enlarged Peggy 1, Ulti didn't feel scared at all, but climbed directly onto his back. If she didn't have scales, she would probably be directly rubbed off a layer of skin. Now Peggy 1 can't control these things well. Sister, what are you doing? Nothing. I used to hold you in my arms, and now you can carry me on your back when you grow up. In short, this sister loves her brother, but it may not be much, and it's very strange. At this time, Ulti grabbed Peggy 1's dorsal fin and lay on his back, swinging back and forth, and then Peggy 1 fell directly to the ground because he couldn't adapt to his new body. The noise made the brother and sister startled, but after waiting for a long time, it seemed that no one noticed that they were making a big move. These people are sleeping so soundly. Ziope, how are you? Why did you suddenly fall down? Are you okay? Sister, while you are talking about this question, can you get off me first? In the few memories that page 1 has, most of them are of Ulti, and they are mixed. For example, she almost choked him to death when she gave him water, and she almost suffocated him to death when she covered him with a blanket. However, if there was any danger, she would always stand in front of him, which made page 1 have complicated feelings for Ulti as a sister. She can be relied on when there is danger, and she is the biggest danger to him when there is no danger, such as now. The two of them tossed and turned for most of the night before they fell asleep, but just as the sun rose, they were awakened by an explosion, and at the same time, there was Yamato's helpless and forced curse, and Kaido started his temporary test again. Even Ulti and page 1, the siblings, were not spared, and were directly rolled up by the spreading flame cloud. Although he deliberately let the siblings get the appropriate fruit because of his relationship with their father, it also meant that the hell time for the siblings began early. Run, you have to live up to those 2 fruits. Powerful abilities cannot be wasted just because your body is not strong enough. Run. Under passive training, Ulti felt more and more that she had been fooled by Kaido. Time soon came to February 1506. In the past, many things happened on the sea, such as red-haired Shanks came to the East China Sea and invited a man named Jesus Boo to join his pirate group. In the forest of the Drum Kingdom, a group of elk gave birth to a group of new fawns. In the Goa Kingdom, Ace and Sapo met for the first time and became friends, and Ulti was also taught a lesson by Shaina several times. She did not remember Yamato's instructions, so her unwillingness to admit defeat caused her to suffer a lot, but she had enough experience and lessons in this regard. At least when facing Arceus, she understood the importance of etiquette and respect. She didn't want to be spanked in front of her brother again, and Shaina was really cruel. It was a very severe force to make Tsundere verbally convinced. Chapter 384, What's wrong with a ground type being able to fly? Exercise the body and control the ability. This is the training that the siblings have been doing recently. They can't learn high level skills yet, but they are gradually getting familiar with their body structure. For example, page 1 has a dedicated teacher, Elizabeth. This is related to his way of flying. Although he is also a ground-based fighter, Landshark has the ability to fly. However, Landshark's flight is different from ordinary flying. After adulthood, a skilled Landshark can take off on the spot and then fly at high speed like a jet fighter. But page 1 has not reached this point. Now he is at most a glider and needs a run up to barely take off. Therefore, Elizabeth, who is good at gliding and flying, has become his special teacher. Little Peggy. Come on. That's right, Little Peggy, don't be afraid, I will catch you. You are not allowed to call him Little Peggy, only I can call him that. Standing on a slightly higher hillside, page 1 is preparing to take off, and below are the crowd watching the excitement. Although Ulti has understood that this warning is useless after a few months, Yamato and Jack are still calling page 1 Little Peggy, but she still did not give up her assertion of sovereignty. As for whether this kind of flight training would be dangerous, she thought it would not be. After all, when she taught Peggy 1 to walk, she had to pull him for a few days before he learned it. She was still waiting for Peggy 1 to take her flying. At this time, Peggy 1 was vaguely labeled as a mount in her impression. After all, except underwater, Landshark could move freely underground or in the sky. As for why she did not refuse Jack's move to catch Peggy 1, she was a brother control, not stupid. She could not catch Peggy 1 of that size. Put your body together, open your arms, spread your fins with your wing membrane, and then run at full speed. Elizabeth demonstrated in front of Peggy 1. After a run up, she flew up with the wind, but Peggy 1 was not so smooth. As expected, He fell directly on his first flight. After breaking the spider silk protection net left by Mariah, he continued to fall and was finally rolled up by Jack's nose. With the height plus the trunk, that is a height that ulti cannot reach now. For ulti, everything is fine in Onigashima. Even Shaina did not continue to target her after she corrected that problem. She can get used to that familiar white-haired idiot. Only Jack is fighting with her for her brother every day, which makes her very unhappy. Put Ziope down quickly. Didn't you see that you scared him? After a long period of training, Jack's nose has become as flexible as his arm, and it can bear a lot of weight. I asked you to put him down, not to put it on your back. Peggy 1, who failed to fly, has already lifted the transformation, so Jack put it directly on his shoulder. If you are not familiar with them, these people don't look like pirate reserves at all in the eyes of outsiders. Everyone has training suitable for themselves. In the office of Onigashima, Mandafesh also temporarily left Fishman Island. He came back to report on his work. How is the recent situation on Fishman Island? It's much more stable, but overall it's still the same. Although Whitebeard's flag has made many people give up their evil thoughts, there are still occasional kidnappings on Fishman Island. Whitebeard's flag is a deterrent, but there are still many people who value money over life. Slave traders and pirates who dare to attack mermaids or fishermen still exist. Especially the high price of mermaids attracts many desperate people. Whitebeard is scary, but he is not omnipresent. If you are encountered by Whitebeard's members, you will naturally be in trouble, but as long as you don't encounter them, nothing will happen. Many people still choose to attack mermaids with this in mind. In addition to external worries, Fishman Island also has internal troubles. Some members of the slave hunting team already have fishmen, and they have no guilt at all when they attack their compatriots. The royal family of the Ryugu kingdom has not been successful in this regard, especially the immigration inspection, which is sometimes in name only. In addition, I have discovered some rare mineral deposits on the seabed near Fishman Island. I have used some equipment to detect them. The reserves are extremely rich. I'm afraid that they have not been mined in the past few hundred years. However, the cost of mining is very high, unless you can hire those fishermen. Moreover, it is impossible to use large equipment underwater, and there is also the threat of large sea beasts. If you really want to mine, you can only rely on your strength. Although Mandafesh's transfer application was due to Rusoka, he also did a lot of work. He knew that only by showing the value of the transfer could he stay in this position. The area of the ocean is much larger than that of the continent, and the world of pirates is even more so. Under the seabed of the deep sea, there may be many precious mineral deposits buried, and even some treasures from sunken ships mean extra income. However, although the coating process allows ships to dive, it is not suitable for underwater mining. There is nothing in this aspect in the wrong technology tree. If you build a submarine to mine, I'm afraid that the income will not be as good as the investment. What is the attitude of the fishermen or mermen? I have been using the appearance of fishermen to contact them. The polarization is quite serious, and most of the fishermen do not have a good impression of humans. However, if necessary, I can still get some people. The population of Fishman Island is about 5 million, and the ratio of mermen to fishermen is roughly balanced. After all, their birth is completely random. And because of the random changes in the species of fishmen and mermaids, it is actually a bit difficult to confirm whether they are biological children. The reason why Mandafesh said that he could get some people is that he actually made a name for himself in Fishman Street. Fishman Street is not inside the bubble membrane of the Dragon Palace Kingdom, but in the deep sea outside. However, it is inhabited by fishmen, which does not have much impact. Fishman Street was originally a large place to take in orphans, but due to the incompetence of the management, Fishman Street has become an area where illegal groups gather. For Fishman Island, Fishman Street is the largest slum. The laws of Fishman Island are not very useful here, but fists are the most useful. Fisher Tiger, Jinping and other famous fishermen are basically born here, but this makes the kingdom of Ryugu even more bizarre. With a body stronger than humans, there are no strong people in the kingdom. All the famous people are hooligans, which is as outrageous as some people who play football. In this environment, Mandafesh can naturally make a name for himself with his fists. After all, he needs some fishmen. to work on Fishman Island, so he just became a small leader of Fishman Street. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 385, Jack returns home and Commander Slash and those younger brothers are quite reliable, because Manderfish is not only good at fighting, but also has money. If he is given some time and enough funds, it is not a problem to set up a mining company. However, the overall prejudice of the fishmen and the policy of the Dragon Palace Kingdom are a problem. But the princess of the Dragon Palace Kingdom has some very naive ideas. If there is a need, it should be no problem to send Tesoro to communicate with her. Manderfish directly said the possible suggestions. His current goal has become to retire gloriously and get married. Invisibly, there is another flag on his back. The suggestion is good. You can use another identity to test the other party's tone. How about the Fishman Karate and Judo? This is also Manderfish's mission when he set out for the Fishman Island to find out the training method of this thing. There is a real fishman on the Ghost Island, and for him, Fishman Karate is also a way to increase combat power. Well, I have learned a little bit of Fishman Karate, but I'm not very good at Fishman Jujutsu. Take Jack with you this time, let him practice with you for a while, and let him learn something about this. This is almost a range 12 years old is a suitable age for an apprentice pirate. Like the 9 snakes, the new generation of the beasts will also start their own voyage, but their destinations are different. Jack arranged to go to Fishman Island, while Yamato chose an island he liked. As for Mariah, it depends on where she likes to go. As for the safety issue, the beast's flag will not encounter any trouble when sailing on the sea, and Fishman Island is flying the white bird flag. Although there are constant small actions, no one will make a big move on Fishman Island. The most important thing for the big pirates is the issue of face. No one can tolerate a slap in the face, unless there are considerations that they have to endure, such as interests and casualties. Shanks was able to stop Kaido before the war because of interests. Otherwise, if a war really broke out, Shanks would not have been able to reach Marineford at the end of the war. He did not have the ability to kill Kaido instantly. Yes, I will take good care of Jack. Jack just needs to pay a little attention. You should take care of Kajiro. Lord Arceus, do you want to take him with you? Kajiro and Tesoro are the best at handling business issues. Tesoro is studying business on the Red Earth continent recently, so it will naturally be handed over to him. But don't worry, he won't be a drag. It's just his first time going out. Kajiro did not do nothing for such a long time. Under the careful training of Hyagoro, he finally got rid of the embarrassing state of being dislocated and strained by a single knife. Now he can use the swallow return at least 3 times. And he also gained his own abilities. Although military exploits are the most important achievements within the Beast's pirates, it is not just military exploits. Business, development, and technological breakthroughs are all counted. Kajiro's behavior of developing and stabilizing Wano's internal business has given him another chance to be rewarded, and this time he didn't give it to his pet. After the traditional process, he finally got the direct transformation form of the Slash Commander, a steel plus evil blade Pokemon with a form very close to that of a human, wearing armor similar to that of a Wano warrior, with sharp blades on the top of the head, limbs, and abdomen. Among all the Pokemon today, the most direct way to increase combat power is the rock and steel types. Even without training, these 2 types of Pokemon can be directly immune to most conventional attacks. The upper limit is unknown, but the lower limit is very high. For details, you can refer to Dasbonis's Quick Cut Fruit. With a body of steel and the swordsmanship tempered by Hyagoro, Kajiro basically did not encounter any danger in the first half of the Grand Line. Manderfresh moved quickly. As soon as he left Arceus, he had already passed the message to Jack. Jack, Lord Arceus ordered you to go to Fishman Island with me in the next period of time. Fishman Island? Yes, that's where you were born. It's necessary to take you there to have a look, and you can also learn something new, such as this. Looking around, Manderfresh saw a kettle. After pouring some water on his hands, he punched those special wooden man piles. Fishman Karate, Water Strike. Water Strike, one of the basic moves of Fishman Karate, is a special move that can use liquid as bullets. The splashing water leaves deep dents on those wooden man piles like bullets. How is it? This is a move of the Fishman tribe. It is very suitable for water battles. Unfortunately, I can't find the trick of that Fishman Jiu-Jitsu. Jack, it's up to you then. I should be able to find a good master for you. Wow, it looks so cool. Can Fishman also make water splashes like this? Jack's reaction was okay, but Yamato seemed to be interested in this, and began to ask Mandafesh about what he saw and heard in Fishman Island. When Ulti heard that Jack was leaving, her smile couldn't be hidden even by her mask. Great, you better never come back. Humph, not only will I come back, I will also bring gifts to Peggy. The desserts of Fishman Island are very famous. Jack stated a very impressive fact. If you want to know which desserts are delicious in the pirate world, just ask Charlotte Lindling. As long as the desserts she likes are of guaranteed quality, Fishman Island can use desserts to obtain the banner of the Big Mob Pirates, which is already an affirmation of this quality. At first, Jack would argue with Ulti, but he gradually found that there was a better way to deal with this tsundere, which was to ignore her temporarily and then go after Peggy 1. Is it really delicious? Peggy, it's just food. Don't succumb to this kind of thing. I can also make you delicious food. Sister, forget it. The things you made, it's not that he discriminates against Ulti. It's true that he doesn't want to die young like this. The food made by Ulti is only liked by those stinky muds, which already shows how outrageous her food is. Looking at the extra children, Manfesh didn't feel strange at all. After all, this is the tradition of the beasts. At the same time, Kajiro, who received the news, also came to Hyagoro's house to say goodbye, mainly to tell Hyagoro that he didn't need to train him tomorrow, and he will be away for a long time. Most things in Wano are on track, and he doesn't need to keep an eye on them anymore. But when he heard that he was going abroad, Hyagoro took out a gift for him. Chapter 386, 3 Swords and the Diet of Mermaids. For you. Hyagoro handed a nearly 2-meter long box to Kajiro. This is knife. Your knife must have been passed down, right? That's right. That's right. I found some biographies some time ago. There are some descriptions of your ancestors in them. If I'm not mistaken, he was shorter than you are now, but this is normal. After all, it happened many years ago. Hyagoro took a sip of tea and continued. That knife was tailor-made by him, but it may not be suitable for you. If I'm not mistaken, that knife is still a little short for you. This length is more suitable for you. After practicing with Kajiro for so long, and witnessing the opponent's change from dislocating himself with one strike to fully using the swallow return, Hyagoro witnessed Kajiro's growth, and discovered the impact of the length of the blade on his moves. But in the final analysis, this is still a question of Kajiro's strength. If he can reach the level of a great swordsman like his ancestors, and integrate the moves into his own sword instead of just imitating, then the length of the weapon will not have such a big impact. Thank you very much. I just don't want the moves to decline. Even if you are not in Wano country, you have to practice more. Yes, I know. For this reason, Kajiro added another sword to his luggage, but this sword is actually not very convenient, because it is too long for Kajiro's height and arm length. For convenience, he had to bring another sword, and evolved into a 2-sword style. Although his family inherited the 1-sword style, he did not have no research on the 2-sword style. In order to thank him for giving Musashi a very stable job, Musashi's mother Miyamoto specially gave him an ancient sword manual as a thank you, which recorded the 2-sword style swordsmanship called Natanachi. At the same time, in order to use this 2-sword style, he brought another sword, so he became a 3-sword style samurai with 2 swords on his waist and a long sword on his back. Although this 3-sword style cannot use 3 swords at the same time. The next day, Jack and Kajiro left Wano country under the leadership of Mandafesh. Before leaving, his companions said goodbye to him cordially, especially Ulti, who hoped that he would never come back. Sister, this is not good. Brother Jack is very good to me. You are not allowed to call him brother. You only have me as your sister. Everything else is fine, but once it comes to page 1, Ulti will become like a powder keg, and no matter how many times it happens, it will explode at any time. but that Jack is actually a fishman. He doesn't look like one at all. From the appearance alone, Jack really has nothing to do with fishmen. You can't even see webbed fingers between his fingers. The only feature is a mouthful of sharp teeth. On the boat, Kajiro and Jack are still practicing as usual, while Manderfish is reading notes. Like Zerora, he doesn't have much experience in love, but he has someone to learn from. Zerora became his forerunner. Mermaids and fur bearers are both considered minority races, so there is a little commonality here. At the same time, there are also Quinn's love secrets and the like. It's outrageous to say it out loud. At present, Quinn is the one with the richest love experience, self-proclaimed. The distance from Wano country to Fishman Island is not short. During this period of time, Jack found that Manderfish had changed a lot. When Manderfish applied for a transfer to Fishman Island, he was sad for a few days. After all, he was his good brother. Humans always have feelings. Even if he was called Drought, because the places he fought in the original timeline became barren like a drought, he still has a gentle side at this age. For example, the Frost Milk Fairy on his shoulder felt that Jack was particularly gentle. The biggest change in Manderfish was that he started to cook. Jack, how about trying this scallop meat? At dinner, Jack saw all kinds of food made from scallops, clams and conches. Mermaids don't eat fish or sea beasts, but shellfish are in their menu. Although Jack is just a fishman, Manderfish thinks their tastes should be somewhat similar. These shellfish are processed. Although Fishman Island is in the deep sea, they have a way to cook the food. There are electrical appliances in Fishman Island, which can heat food and coffee. Through the sun tree Eve, Fishman Island not only obtains sunlight, but also obtains electricity. Their power generation technology is very special compared to the outside world. Of course, eating raw is also a very common thing. Manderfish is learning to cook, so something very strange happened on the ship. On the first day, facing a table full of shellfish, Kajiro and Jack felt very novel. Although Manderfish is not a chef, what he made is not that bad. After a week, they began to have no expression on their faces, and after a month, looking at a table full of shellfish, they couldn't help it. Brother Manderfish, don't you have anything else to eat? 3 meals a day, no matter how many ways to cook them, they have eaten enough of these things. Jack, it's wrong to waste food on the sea. You shouldn't waste food under any circumstances, understand? But Brother Manfish, what does this have to do with this? Although he didn't like vegetables and fruits, after a month, he felt that the fruit set meal of Frost Milk Fairy was more delicious than these shellfish. Hold on for a few more days. I'll soon understand the tricks of these dishes. He made a lot of failed products in the experiment. In the past days, his younger brothers had eaten enough of these things, so Jack and Kajiro, 2 newcomers, were gloriously promoted to new tasters. In the end, Manfish understood how to cook scallops and other shellfish during the voyage, and Jack and Kajiro also successfully crossed shellfish out of their own recipes. After a long voyage, they arrived at the junction of the center of the Grand Route again. Kajiro came not only alone, but also brought some land goods. Some business had to be tried. Because of the goods, he waited for the coating at the base of the beasts, while Manfish and Jack relied on their abilities and races to dive into the water in advance. Brother Manderfish, is this Fishman Island? No, Fishman Island is over there. This is Fishman Street. I'll take you there first. Remember, I'm a fishman here. This is the vest he has worn for a long time. It would be terrible if Jack ruined it with one sentence. Don't worry, Brother Manderfish, I won't talk nonsense. Well, follow me closely. He also pulled a bubble behind him, which contained a gift that could not be soaked in water. Chapter 387 Fishman Street and Fishman Island. Otterheim's observation hacky. New, Brother Manderfish, you're back. As soon as he entered Fishman Street, a 6-armed octopus fishman spotted Manderfish and greeted him enthusiastically. It was Zioba, one of the fishermen Manderfish had known over the years. He applied for a transfer at the end of 1502 and completed the transfer at the beginning of the next year. He has been on Fishman Island for 3 years now, so it is normal to have some acquaintances. Zioba is not his younger brother, but one of the fishermen with whom he has a better relationship. After all, Zioba's boss is actually Alan. As for the relationship between Manderfish and Arlong, Manderfish had a fight with Arlong when he was fighting for territory in Fishman Street at the beginning, and he easily defeated Arlong. Later, he defeated some slave hunting teams and other pirates in Fishman Street. At that time, he had a good relationship with Arlong. Arlong, a sawtooth sharp man, is a racist. When he was young, he had a vision of the human world, but later the discrimination of humans against fishmen and the advent of the Great Pirate Era broke his fantasy. Although he hates humans, unlike the madman Hoddy Jones, Aaron is very friendly to his compatriots. After being defeated by Manderfish, he quickly accepted him and helped Manderfish integrate into the Fishman Street. This is related to Manderfish's appearance. In the form of a capable person, he is actually a bit similar to Fisher Tiger, and Fisher Tiger is a recognized boss of Fishman Street, so Manderfish's appearance is very close to him. The two sides had a close cooperation period for a while, but then gradually alienated. The reason is very simple, because Manderfish is too friendly to humans. Aaron hates all humans, while Manderfish will only attack some humans and help some people. This caused Aaron and his relationship is no longer as good as before. Although they did not break up, they gradually alienated. However, Ziobe has not changed much. He does not have as deep resentment towards humans as Aaron, and he has a good relationship with Rayleigh, who lives in Shampoo Land. Ah, I'm back. This is a gift for you, a machine for making takoyaki. He not only brought gifts for Usoka, but also for some friends and younger brothers. New? Are you really giving it to me? New. Great. As an octopus fishman, Ziobe's biggest dream is to open a takoyaki shop, but Fishman Island does not have a complete industrial system, and he has little money, so he has been coveting this kind of machine for a long time. Well, it's for you. Here is the recipe for it. Find a place without water to look at it. And the machine is also useful in Fishman Island, but not in Fishman Street. You should do some serious business. Aaron will get into trouble sooner or later. Manderfish knew Aaron's weight very well. He could only bully others underwater, but he would be beaten down in minutes when he met someone with real skills. But he was still very arrogant. In Manderfish's view, it was only a matter of time before he got into trouble. New Manderfish, stop talking bad about people behind their backs. What can those humans do to me? The fishmen are the real kings in the sea. Well, you are right. Just be happy. He tried to persuade him at first, but later gave up and just let Aaron be happy. TSK, I advise you to be careful. The curse on Rusoka has always been very effective. Don't worry about it. I haven't seen any curses in all these years. I'm still alive and well. Mentioning this issue, Manderfish became less friendly, and there was a hint of threat in his tone, but Aaron did not delve into this issue, but left with a few fishmen. New, brother Manderfish, actually brother Ray Long. Okay, Ziobe, you don't need to say anything about this. Okay, but is this a child? Ziobe looked at Jack following Manderfish with a suspicious look. Jack's face was still relatively immature, but he was too big. Neither Manderfish nor Ziobe could compare to Jack in height, and he was more than a head shorter. If it weren't for the immature face, Ziobe would have believed that he was an adult. Oh, his name is Jack. The group of fishmen. My friend was asked to take care of him for a while. By the way, where is Haku? After thinking about it, Manderfish changed his name and asked about another fishman, who was also the teacher he planned to find for Jack. Haku, the big red snapper fishman, was just in his early 20s, but he was proficient in fishman karate and fishman judo. Known as Baden Haku, his strength may not be the strongest, but he is very good at teaching people, and is relatively friendly to humans. According to the normal timeline, he will join the Revolutionary Army in the future, and become an instructor of the Revolutionary Army. He should still be on Fishman Island. I haven't seen him in Fishman Street recently. I see. By the way, Zioba, please help me deliver these things to them. I'll go to Fishman Island first. New, I see. Leave it to me. The advantages of the octopus fishman are reflected. In the deep sea, there are soap bubbles. These things are very light, so if he has enough hands, he can pick up many things. Those things are not expensive, but they are all things that fishmen like, but are difficult to get. Fishman Island is right below Shabeoli, but fishmen rarely go there. After all, the Shabaodi archipelago is very dangerous for them. Many mermaids or fishmen have a dream of playing in the soap bubble park, but they may never set foot on land in their lives. And Mandafesh took Jack directly to Fishman Island. He was not sure where Haku was, so he took Jack to Rusalka's home. During the trip, they passed by the Gerencourt Square, where a woman was giving a speech. She was Otterheim, the princess of Fishman Island, an idealist whose dream was that all mermaids and fishmen could live on the ground equally with humans. She gave a speech very hard, but not many people were willing to listen to her. What she said was too advanced for the residents of Fishman Island. Brother Mandafesh, is it difficult for fishmen to live on land? Jack, who was passing by, heard Otterheim's speech. He didn't understand this question very well. After all, he had always lived on land and had never been discriminated against. It's not easy. Governor Kaido and Lord Arceus have protected you from this problem. In fact, the world outside is much more complicated than you think. Let's go. Rusalka's home is almost here. Mandafesh pulled Jack away from here. He had no interest in the speech, but he didn't notice that Otterheim's eyes were looking at them. That was Otterheim's natural powerful observation haki, which could sense the other person's thoughts and emotions. She used this ability to see how many people were willing to recognize her. Although there was no result, she unexpectedly felt some of Mendelssohn and Jack's thoughts. Chapter 388 Jack, you value women over friends. Otterheim can read minds. Unlike Enel's ability acquired through the fruit power, her ability is innate. However, she does not have the habit of casually browsing other people's inner thoughts. If external voices constantly enter her mind, it will drive her crazy. Moreover, it is not her style to casually read other people's minds. She is a very naive idealist. When she was speaking, she just sensed whether the other person had a sense of identity in his heart, similar to distinguishing between good and evil. However, that kind of identity is rare, and you may not meet one in hundreds of people. Both Mandafesh and Jack had a certain sense of identity with her words. One of them wanted to marry a mermaid, and the other got along very happily with humans, so they agreed with part of her equality. Otterheim did not chase after him, but gave a more diligent speech. Every sense of identity was a motivation for her. In fact, her ability is far more than that. Her observation haki is very strong, but also very weak. It is strong enough to affect the minds and thoughts of others and resonate strongly, and even change the other party's values and ideology. Muscat's sudden change of mind after several years was not just because of the life-saving grace, but Otterheim helped a lot in this. But at the same time, she was also very weak. Her physique was so fragile that slapping someone would cause her to break a bone. With this physique, let alone training, her observation haki, that could influence other people's minds, was also different from the regular observation haki. It was not the regular haki that could be trained to the level of predicting the future, but a natural ability like the Conqueror's haki. Her influence was not an instant brainwashing, but a slow influence that was imperceptible. The celestial dragons were seriously polarized, and the mental resistance of some celestial dragons was undoubtedly at the bottom of the world. Even so, she had to work hard to influence others. As long as she was stronger, she was basically powerless. Otherwise, she didn't need to do anything else. She could rule the world by just walking outside. Passing through the Gerencourt Square, Mandafesh returned to Coral Hill again, and along the way Jack also saw all kinds of mermaids and fishmen. Whether it is marine fish or freshwater fish, even some non-fish marine creatures appear here from time to time. Although Jack looks more like a human, his big body and Mandafesh beside him help him avoid a lot of trouble. Brother Mandafesh, didn't you say that woman is the princess? Yes. Is there any problem? If it is the princess, then what she said should be similar to Lord Arceus and Mr. Kaido, and have the same effect. Jack, although, maybe, it's almost the same meaning, but your analogy is very inappropriate. Do you want to be taught a lesson by the big sister? No, I just want to say, why do their subordinates listen to the princess words? Many of those who pass by are like this. What they do is completely different from what the princess asks. In Jack's view, the people's attitude towards the king is the same as that of ordinary pirates of the beasts towards the captain. If Kaido said this, it would not be a speech, but an order. Because Governor Kaido and Lord Arceus are strong enough, Jack. This is a cruel world. Without strength, everything is nonsense. If she had absolute strength, then all these would be implemented quickly, but she doesn't. Although I agree with some of her words, it is a pity that she is destined to not realize her ideals. Why? Peace is not something that can be said with the mouth. It is a very sad thing to pin peace on the ideas of others. Your fist is big enough to promote your ideas to others. Otherwise, it is useless to convince him today. That piece of white paper cannot bind this world of force. The territory of the pirates and the status of the allied countries are all defended by strength. The same is true for the world government. Without the support of force, those celestial dragons would have died countless times. Strength is important. Of course it is important. We are almost there. Don't talk nonsense later. Rusalka's house was getting closer and closer, and Mandafesh once again emphasized the issues that Jack should pay attention to. I see. Don't worry, brother Mandafesh. Yeah, by the way, smile. Don't be so stiff. Forget it, you'd better not smile. Keep the expression just now. Looking at the sharp teeth, Mandafesh thought it would be better not to let him smile. Rusalka, are you home? I'm back. Familiar place, familiar words. Familiar way of knocking on the door. The difference is the time of opening the door. Unlike last time, when he waited for a long time, this time he just knocked on the door and there was movement inside. Mandafesh, you're back. Who is he? Looking at the big guy behind Mandafesh, Rusalka was obviously stunned. The order from the superiors asked me to bring this child to learn some fishman karate and fishman judo. Have you seen Haku recently? No, but are you sure this is a child? Even among the fishmen, Jack is a rare big guy, but this question did not last too long. During this time, Jack also saw the situation in Rusalka's room. Many things were in pairs. If, as Mandafesh said, Rusalka has been single for a while, it means that there has been a lot of progress between them. In the end, Jack watched Mandafesh happily walk into the house, while he waited alone at the door. It's not that Rusalka didn't let him in, but that he couldn't get in. This is not Onigashima. The house was built according to Kaido's body shape, so that even giants can enter and exit freely. Rusalka has been living alone, because of the curse-like reputation, so the house is naturally built according to his body shape. Even Mandafesh, who is about 2 meters tall, has to lower his head and turn sideways to enter the house. So unless this door is removed, Jack can't get in. In this case, he chose to let Jack wait for him at the door, and wait for him to deal with the things at hand before arranging him. So there was a strange scene of a young and strong man sitting alone at the door. Is he okay? It's okay, he is often alone, and he has long been used to it. Jack outside the door didn't hear this, otherwise he would definitely refute Mandafesh, saying that he was just used to a man staying alone in a pile of women, not used to being alone. Meanwhile, on the sea outside, Kajiro was still waiting for the coating, and on the other side of the Red Earth continent, in the Sabaody archipelago, a group of pirates received a mission. Looking for this fishman? He is a runaway slave. Your goal is to catch him back. Of course, we will also buy other mermaids or fishmen at the auction house price. Chapter 389 The Middleman Who Made a Lot of Money. Not long ago, a slave of a celestial dragon escaped. When he was out, the slave who escaped was Fisher Tiger. The celestial dragon was not Masquerade. Although he liked fishman slaves, he was not the only one who had fishman slaves. Compared with ordinary humans, fishman's physique can bear greater weight, which means that their seats are more stable when they go out. It is almost impossible for ordinary slaves to escape from the hands of celestial dragons. The power of the explosive collar is not something that those slaves can bear. But Fisher Tiger deliberately knocked over the celestial dragon on his back, and at the cost of a few shots, he tricked others to come over and took away the key when they were not prepared. They underestimated the vitality of the fishman and overestimated the marksmanship of the celestial dragon. A few pistol bullets could not kill Tiger. Then a classic economic case happened. For the celestial dragons, it is a shameful thing to let slaves escape. If this matter is spread, it will become a laughing stock among the celestial dragon group. Moreover, there were too many people who saw Tiger running away, including the kings of the member countries and officials of the world government. It was not realistic to kill them all. So he gave a confidant 500 million berries and asked him to capture Tiger back. It would be better if he could capture some new slaves. Since Whitebird began to protect Fishman Island, there have been some effects. The most direct manifestation is that the number of fishermen and mermaid slaves has decreased, and the price has increased. Although 500 million has exceeded the value of a fishman, it is not a big deal compared to saving his face. Then the confidant took out 300 million of the 500 million berries and bribed an official of the world government to deal with the matter. Then the official of the world government took out 200 million berries and arranged for his men to deal with the matter. Although the fishermen and mermaids on the island were once classified as fish by humans and were discriminated against by humans, but after the kingdom of Ryugu became a member of the world government 200 years ago, the relationship between the two sides eased a little, and the king of Fishman Island was also allowed to attend the world conference. This made it difficult for people from the world government to do such things blatantly, and the deep sea was too dangerous. The slave hunting team was not very capable of deep sea operations, so they used 120 million to bribe a group of pirates with decent strength to let them do this, and they waited on the top to reap the benefits. As for the extra fishermen or mermaids, if the quality is good enough, the celestial dragons are probably willing to spend extra money. It was 2 days after Manderfish returned to Fishman Island. The pirate's ship had been coated long ago, and after making preparations, they had already come underwater. They took out 60 million berries and bribed some thugs from Fishman Street again. They were not sure whether the other party had returned to Fishman Island, but this was where all the fishermen lived, so they sent people here to check. Capturing other slaves was also to make it easier to report if they couldn't find Tiger. As for their target, the answer was just a red fishman who had recently come to Fishman Island. As for the name, there was no name at all. The celestial dragons would not remember the name of the slave, and the same was true for others. The number on the collar was a slave's miserable life. If it was stated that their target was Tiger, then no one in Fishman Street would do this job. Fisher Tiger's status in Fishman Street was equivalent to that of Hyogoro in Flower Capital. Although he is not an official, his huge reputation can attract hundreds of people to respond. However, he has been away for a long time, and no one has seen Tiger come back recently, so he took on this black job under the temptation of money. There are many factions in Fishman Street when Tiger is not there. However, walls have ears, and their secret discussion was overheard by Zio New, the red fishman who just came back. He temporarily left the takoyaki machine with his friends in Fishman Island. This time he came back to catch some octopuses as materials, but he didn't expect to hear such an exaggerated news. He threw the octopus cage in his hand directly to the ground, and then left here in a hurry. New. Brother Aaron. It's bad. Those bastards in the North Block have joined forces with humans to attack Brother Manfish. In a room in Fishman Street, Aaron and his gang were drinking the juice of some underwater plants. It was something very similar to alcohol, but the density was higher than water, and it could meet their needs in the water-filled Fishman Street. Don't worry, Zio. How can those guys be the opponent of Manderfish? You underestimate him too much. Sit down and have a drink together. I just picked it. Aaron didn't take the matter to heart at all. In his opinion, humans would not be the opponent of Manderfish. After all, even he was not the opponent of Manderfish. However, Zio was not so relieved. Seeing that Aaron didn't intend to intervene, he went to Fishman Island to find Manderfish to report the news. On Fishman Island, Manderfish and Rusoka were strolling in the Mermaid Bay. Recently, he had successfully found Haku and handed Jack to Haku. In view of the past friendship, Haku agreed to teach the other party fisherman karate and fisherman judo, and let Jack live in his house temporarily. The houses of fishermen are generally much more spacious than those of mermaids, and his house is not too far from Rusoka's house, which is convenient for Manderfish to run back and forth. The reward was a large bag of pancake rolls. Although he was a fisherman, Haku had a love for this kind of food. The red fishman should be him, right? He's the only fisherman who came here recently, and he's so close to that woman Rusoka, and he's robbed a lot of our territory in Fishman Street. Now someone specifically wants him, isn't that just right? Manderfish has also become a little famous in Fishman Street. When they heard those human pirates describe this incident, they actually had the same idea as Ziobe. But, can we beat him? No, but those humans can. Isn't that the so-called supernova this year? They should be able to deal with him. I have a plan. Use that mermaid as bait, to trick this guy to the surface of the sea. Then those humans will naturally have a way to deal with him. Although fishmen can live on land, fishmen on land can't perform as well as those underwater. If fishmen are put on a ship or on land, their strength will naturally be greatly reduced. Good idea. Then how do you plan to separate the two of them? The premise of all this plan is to separate Mandafesh and Rusalka. In this situation, there is no possibility for them to separate at all. But just when they were having a headache, Mandafesh's Dendenmushi rang. Kajiro's ship had been coated and was waiting for him at the entrance. Since there were only humans on board, he chose to let Rusalka wait here. Chapter 390. At that moment, Mandafesh turned into light. Rusalka's attitude towards humans was quite friendly, but after all, the people on that boat were all his subordinates. When they met, there were many secret things to discuss, so he did not take Rusalka with him. Although Fishman Island is not particularly safe, the reason why there are more mermaids in Mermaid Bay is not only because of the beautiful environment, but also because it is a relatively safe place in Fishman Island. He was just going to pick up Kajiro and the others, which would not take long. Moreover, he would leave Fishman Island normally. Rusalka was not a 3-year-old child, and it was no problem for him to live alone, so he was careless. Seeing Mandafesh suddenly leave, the fishman thugs understood that it was time to act. Is this what you brought? Well, considering the special environment here, I think this kind of product should be more popular. That's it. I'll find a place for you to stay first, and then I have some private matters to deal with. When I finish. Mandafesh and Kajiro chatted about this issue in a few words, and then outside the entrance of Fishman Island, Zioba's voice came. New, Brother Mandafesh, someone is going to attack you. New. I heard it all in Fishman Street. Looking at Kajiro beside Mandafesh, Zioba didn't say anything. He knew that Mandafesh had a good relationship with some humans. Without waiting for Mandafesh to ask, he told him what he heard in Fishman Street. When did it happen? New, not long ago. I went to find brother along first. He said that you can handle it alone, so he didn't come. They should be faster than me. Oh no. An ominous feeling appeared in Mandafesh's heart. If it was according to what Zioba said, those people had already acted in front of him, and the target was really him. At this time, there seemed to be some commotion in the direction where Mandafesh came from. Hey, don't run. What happened over there? There are human pirates destroying things. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, it's a mess. Mandafesh stopped a mermaid and asked what happened. In addition to the pirates and fishmen, they also had people from the world government waiting to receive the goods, so they quickly made a plan after Mandafesh left. The human pirates rioted on Fishman Island to attract attention. They mixed in the crowd to stir up a riot, causing the nearby mermaids and fishmen to get in chaos, and then took advantage of the chaos to capture Rusalka. After that, they revealed some information to Mandafesh and led him to the hands of those who were ready to receive the goods on the sea. The reason why the human pirates took action was because they still had to continue living on Fishman Island. It was okay to do small tricks, but if they did such things blatantly, they would not be able to live on Fishman Island in the future. Newborn calves are not afraid of tigers. As this year's supernova, the first half of the Grand Line failed to stop them, so their hearts were very inflated. Even when facing Whitebeard's flag, they were not afraid and agreed to the demands of those fishmen. Anyway, plundering Fishman Island itself is their goal. New, Brother Mandafesh. Where are you going? I'm going to find Rusalka. Those are my friends. Please take care of them for me. New? Wait, where are you going? Seeing Kajiro and the others chasing after Mandafesh, Zioba didn't know what to do for a moment, so he had to follow behind. How can this guy, an ordinary Kada, run so fast? Kajiro couldn't catch up with Mandafesh from behind. He thought that he was not weak after 3 years of training with Hyogoro, but he didn't expect that he couldn't catch up with Mandafesh at all. This made him feel that his decision was correct. He didn't know that Manderfish was now using all his strength to launch a water splash jump, and each time he could use the explosive power to jump a long distance. Rootstalker, Rootstalker, where are you? When they returned to the place where they separated, Rootstalker's figure was gone. Mandefiance, calm down, you can't find her like this. Kajiro finally caught up. Mandefiance was not only in the form of ability, but also in the form of enhanced ability, because of the disguise of the fishman identity. When Kajiro transformed into the Slash Commander, he barely caught up with the blessing of his ability. I can't calm down. Don't panic, I have notified the New World. They should still be on Fishman Island. Even if they leave here, there are only two ways. If they dare to go to the New World, they will definitely be stopped by our people. And if that Zaobe is telling the truth, those people's target is you. Even if they captured Rootstalker, it was to find you. As long as you are still there, she will be fine. A bystander sees more clearly. Kajiro, who is not involved, can see the situation more clearly. He wanted to ask the people around him about the situation, but those mermaids or fishmen didn't stop at all, because they saw that he was a human, but ran faster. At this time, a fishman did the opposite and took the initiative to reveal the news that he had seen Rootstalker. Where is she? Brother Manderfish. It's him, NIU. He's also in the same group with those guys. Before that person could speak, Zaobe's voice suddenly came over, disrupting their plan completely. Hearing this, Manderfish's eyes instantly turned red. In his rage, he didn't give the other party a chance to escape and pressed him to the ground. Speak. Where is she? His strength had long surpassed that of the fishman, and even he couldn't break free from Manderfish's grip, and his face gradually turned blue. Manderfish. Let go, he's dying. Kajiro pulled Manderfish's arm, but it didn't work. In desperation, he had to kick it, and Manderfish let go. Speak. It's not that he didn't want to speak, but he was just strangled by Manderfish's neck, and couldn't speak at all. Ahem. I don't know if they should be on the water near Shampoo Land. New, brother Manderfish, it's too dangerous there, otherwise. Manderfish didn't say anything. After knowing his destination, he rushed directly to the bubble membrane above. After practicing day after day, water splashing was no longer a skill that could only jump on the water surface. At this time, it had evolved into an alternative moon step. New, brother Manderfish. Why is it glowing? Is he going to turn into light? They couldn't stop Manderfish, but Manderfish's body shape changed dramatically when he rushed to the bubble membrane above. Wrapped in white light, a tail stretched out from behind him. His neck became slightly longer, his limbs became thicker, and had a bone spur-like structure, and when the white light dissipated, his whole body had turned blue. Chapter 391 The brutal takeaway you ordered has arrived. The light of evolution opened the way for Manderfish to evolve, but he never evolved, because he lacked an opportunity. The evolution of Magikarp requires not only the level, but also the belief that it can turn over. Most Magikarp will evolve when the level is right and there are huge emotional fluctuations, such as extreme anger, or when they push themselves to the limit. Many Magikarp will climb over waterfalls in order to evolve, which is forcing their bodies. And now Manderfish has found his opportunity, and the majestic power is flooding his body. Is this evolution? Rootstalker, wait for me, I'll be there soon. Feeling the power in his body, he felt that he could beat 10 of his previous selves. After rushing out of the bubble film, he turned directly into Gyarados, and his streamlined body rushed to the water. Although not as big as Kaido's blue dragon body, his beast form has also reached the same posture as a small sea beast. The 10-meter long body is constantly accelerating. On the sea, two fishermen put Rootstalker in a sack and handed it to a ship of the world government. They also learned about this plan from the hired pirates, so they did not attack the two fishermen, but planned to wait until they completed their goal. After they lured out the target mermaid, they would capture them together. Although the main target was the escaped slave, catching more would definitely get more rewards. They did not plan to let the two fishermen get on the ship, but looked at the struggling pocket and talked. Does that guy have a wife? Who knows? How could anyone like an ugly thing like a fishman, like a monster with a fishy smell? As he said that, he reached out to grab the opening of the pocket. After opening the pocket, it was the bound Rootstalker. Hey, that guy has a good eye. This is a high-end product. The auction alone will be more than 100 or 200 million. Almost. The price of mermaids has been getting higher and higher in recent years. It's all because of that idiot Whitebird. As a human, he went to protect that island. The way they looked at Rusalka was completely looking at the commodity. They were members of the world government. It was reasonable to protect the members of the member states, but for them, the kingdom of Ryugu was not a member state at all. If it weren't for the fact that direct action would have a bad impact, the world government would probably have a special team to go directly to Fishman Island to capture slaves instead of waiting for other slave catching teams. Hey, you guys, be honest. That's for the celestial dragons. Don't relax too much. That guy must have his own skills to escape. Don't be careless. The leader stopped several of his men and ordered them to be on alert. Strange, Captain. I don't know when the two fishermen in the water disappeared. An agent in a suit at the side of the ship found some problems, but it didn't attract their attention. It's normal for a merman to be able to swim. It doesn't matter if those two guys really run away. As long as we can lure out the escaped slave, the value of this merman is enough. They didn't shy away from Rusalka. Hearing that these humans captured her just to lure out Manderfish, her eyes were full of disbelief. At the same time, she also remembered the rumor that men who were too close to her would be cursed. I thought Manderfish had been fine for 3 years, and the curse had long been empty talk. I didn't expect such a thing to happen today, but now she can't do anything. She is just an ordinary mermaid, and has no fighting power at all. The people on the boat were planning to ambush Manderfish, and Manderfish had already arrived. At this time, he was holding a merman in each hand, which was why the people on the boat found that the two mermen were missing. The changes of animal type ability users will affect their body size. Among them, the beast form is basically based on the body size of animals, while the human beast form will expand slightly according to the body size of humans. The basic principle is that it will only get bigger and not smaller, because there are basically no people with the ability to shrink their bodies due to animal transformation. The form of Magikarp did not change Manderfish's size much, but Gyarados was different. At this time, he not only had an extra tail and turned blue, but his height was also much taller than before, almost 3 meters tall like Jack. I say, you answer. If you dare to say one more word, I will take your lives, understand? Feeling the pressure on their necks, the two fishermen nodded quickly to indicate that they understood. Which ship is Rushika on? There are more than one ship docked here, so he has to determine the target first. He can't judge the specific target underwater. The two fishermen also cooperated and pointed to a ship. After getting the answer he wanted, Manderfish did not kill them. It's not that he didn't want to, but he couldn't do it now. If they died, their bodies would float up, which might alert the other party. His reason was not lost because of evolution. After evolution, the anger in his heart disappeared a lot. Get lost. He let the two fishermen go temporarily, then Manderfish took out a piece of coral, blew out a bubble space, and took out his Den Mushi. It's me, Manderfish. There is a world government ship at the outer dock. Find a way to attract their attention. No matter what method you use, you have to be quick. That was the contact information of the Beast Fruit branch in Shabaodi. He is now the highest commander of the Beast area, and can mobilize personnel at the Shabaodi archipelago and the entrance to the new world. At Manderfish's request, the Beast Fruit people came up with a random sales promotion. Under his shameless shouting, he also attracted the attention of some world government agents. At this time, Manderfish also moved. After evolution, he did not lose the ability to splash water. Using the sea water under his feet as the force point, Manderfish burst out. Although he has the ability to fly after evolving into Gyarados, his flying speed is relatively slow, and it is far inferior to this way of movement at close range. The moment he jumped into the air, he locked Rusalka's position. Although this method of movement is fast enough, the disadvantage is that it is quite noisy, especially when Manderfish, who uses air as a pedal, almost makes a sonic boom. The person next to Rusalka just heard this sound, and when he turned around, he saw a blue claw getting bigger and bigger. He didn't even have time to use the iron block, and Manderfish broke his neck. Don't be afraid, I'm here. Holding Rusalka in his arms, Manderfish wanted to take her into the sea. He was here to save people, and protecting Rusalka first was his goal. But a sickle weasel made Manderfish's idea fail. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 392, The Raging Gyarados. After that, several agents quickly surrounded Manderfish and the other two. Who are you? This is the world government's ship. Manderfish had changed a lot after his evolution. Although his basic appearance had not changed, these world government agents who were not familiar with him could not recognize him. The blue figure was also different from their target, and they did not think about it at all. And for some reason, when facing Manderfish, they felt a strange breath, and that breath pressed them in their hearts, and made them breathless. Conqueror's Haki? No, it can't be Conqueror's Haki. What the hell is this guy? The captain had a bad premonition in his heart, and this matter seemed not as simple as he thought. The claws cut the rope on Rusalka, and then Manderfish rolled up Rusalka with his tail, and protected it behind him. It's me, Manderfish, don't be afraid, I will take you away from here. He was worried that his big change would make Rusalka unable to recognize him. Although he said that he might change color, the time of this color change was much later than he expected, and the change was much greater. I know, Manderfish, you go quickly, their target is you. Don't worry about me. Although they didn't spend every day together, they had been dating for a long time. Even if they became like this, she still recognized each other. Don't talk nonsense, I'm here, I must take you away, don't worry, I'm very strong. After the evolution, his original shirt was torn. At this time, Manderfish was naked with a black number 3 on his left shoulder wrapped in blue scales. He was thinking about how to take Rusalka away safely. He was not unfamiliar with the sickle weasel just now. It was a windblade attack kicked out by the storm. The beast's pirates emphasized this move at the card meeting. Even among the top warriors, some people use skills derived from the 6 styles. It is necessary to understand such skills. The skill just now was aimed at Rusalka, so he was forced back. It was not difficult for his body to withstand this attack, but he was not 100% sure that he could protect Rusalka. He was not a turtle that could directly retract into his shell. His protection had blind spots. If his back was exposed to the enemy, accidents might happen in places he could not detect. Rusalka, I will send you underwater in a while, and then you will run back to your home on Fishman Island at full speed. I have asked my friends to wait for you there. The fishermen were able to catch Rusalka because there was no water in the mermaid bay at that time, and the legless mermaids were inconvenient to move, so they could find an opportunity. This kind of thing is impossible in the ocean, because the swimming speed of mermaids is ranked first in the world, even for fishermen. The captain was waiting for his subordinates to get in place. Looking at his subordinates whose necks were broken by Manderfish, he felt that this opponent was not so easy to deal with. There were some combined attack formations in their training, and the main target was the enemy who was slightly stronger than themselves. And Manderfish was looking for an opportunity to send Rusalka away. After telling Rusalka what to do, he began to quietly gather energy in his mouth. Before the world government personnel finished forming their formations, he spit out a hot flame. Gyarados has many unexpected skills, such as jetting flames. Although he has not evolved due to lack of opportunities, his level is constantly accumulating. After the evolution broke the limit, he also had many more uses for his abilities in his mind. For example, the jetting flames at this time, the flames temporarily forced the opponent back, and then Manderfish took the opportunity to send Rusalka into the water. Go. The world government personnel reacted quickly, and several storm kicks attacked one after another. The mermaid's swimming speed was indeed fast, but this speed was based on the premise of ordinary humans. At least her swimming speed was not as fast as the storm kicks. So Manderfish blocked all their attacks with his body. He continued to spit out high temperature flames, blocking those who tried to interfere with Rusalka's escape. Watching Rusalka go away, Manderfish smiled with satisfaction. This time was the greatest help to him. If he didn't run when he should, he would cause trouble for the other party. Rusalka understood this, so he swam into the water without looking back. The agents of the world government suddenly had a strange feeling. A blue dragon that can breathe fire. Captain, could this guy be Kaido? What nonsense are you talking about? The Navy headquarters must know that such a monster has left the station. Of course, he had a more intuitive reason. If the other party was really Kaido, then they would have been killed long ago. Catch him, this guy must have a big secret. They didn't notice that Manderfish ran out from underwater and even thought that he didn't go into the water because he was afraid of water. So several agents harassed Manderfish with the cover of the stormed legs, and the rest began to advance. Most of these people only know 2 or 3 styles, and the proportion of those who are proficient in all 6 styles is not high among agents and Navy. In the next few minutes, they will understand why Gyarados' nickname is the Great Cruelty. After Rusalka left, he had no worries, so of course he had to take revenge on those who dared to touch his future wife. Pointing gun, an agent swung his arm at Manderfish, but Manderfish's move was beyond his expectations. He did not dodge or block, but bit his arm. Iron block. He tried to block the opponent's attack with an iron block after realizing something was wrong, but he underestimated Gyarados' bite force, and the arm was bitten off by his teeth. Does other people's blood taste like this? It is not uncommon for animal type ability users to bite. Looking at Manderfish, whose face was covered with blood and whose scales were almost dyed red, others began to feel fear in the crowd. However, they were not a mob of pirates. They were trained and still attacked Manderfish under orders. There were no elites like CP9 among these agents. The direct effect of their attacks was that more and more blood belonging to the enemy was on Manderfish. It hurts. Save me. Save. With his throat bitten and his body torn apart, Manderfish's fight was very barbaric and primitive. He used the most brutal means to kill his enemies. It was just to catch a fishman, so they didn't take it seriously at all. Moreover, the troops sent out under the layers of outsourcing were naturally not elite. They couldn't even break Manderfish's scales. Boom. Manderfish, standing in midair, spit out a flame at the deck. The strong flame split the deck in half, and the ship's ammunition depot was also ignited by the flames. Standing on the wreckage of the sinking ship, Manderfish held the last living agent in his hand. Who the hell are you? There can't be a monster like you among the fishmen. Why do you have Kaido's ability? It doesn't matter who I am, but you touched someone you shouldn't have touched. Then he continued to exert force with his palm, and the captain's head was crushed in Manderfish's hand like a watermelon. Chapter 393 What is it like to offend Kaido and Whitebeard at the same time? This is the power of evolution. As expected, my luck has always been good. Among the many God-given people, his own ability was relatively weak, especially in the position-changing battle that year. He fought with Babanuki for 2 days and 2 nights, and only then found an opportunity to knock him down, when he was cutting his gun. But now it seems that his power has just been demonstrated. The sea breeze is mixed with a strong smell of blood. I'm afraid that it will not be long before the sharks in the sea will be attracted. What are you looking at? Haven't you seen a dead person? There is no shortage of people watching the excitement everywhere. Ordinary people in Shampoo fled because of this battle, but there are still a large number of pirates here. On the wreckage of the ship, the flag of the world government ignited flames and disappeared from this world along with the gradually sinking wreckage. Manderfish was splattered with a lot of blood, and there were also broken corpses floating on the sea around him. Some were washed to the shore by the waves. It was originally a very terrifying scene, but it made the pirates excited. So cool. Hey, big brother, can I join you? Some even applied to join Manderfish, but Manderfish didn't care about them at all. There were not only pirates in Shabaodi, but also Navy. Although the battle didn't last long, they came very quickly when the world government's ships were attacked. Manderfish flew into the clouds with his new body. After flying for a distance, he re-entered the water in the uninhabited area and swam towards Fishman Island again. While flying, he also called Jack to inform him that there was no problem. As for whether those people on Shabaodi Island would have a big conflict with the Navy later, that was no longer something he wanted to think about. In the deep sea, Rusalka had just returned to her home in Coral Hill. As Manderfish said, Haku with Jack was waiting for her here. Rusalka, you're back. Fishu Manderfish is still fighting. There's no danger here. Haku, go help him. Brother Manderfish asked us to protect you. Don't worry. He's very strong. Jack answered. Before Manderfish left, he contacted him through Dendenmushi. He told Jack to take Haku to protect Rusalka and not worry about anything else. Jack also confirmed a truth in the past 2 days. Although Haku is much better than Manderfish in Fishman Karate, he is not Manderfish's opponent. Even if he went, he couldn't help much. However, Rusalka was worried about Manderfish. Fortunately, Manderfish's phone call had already come. At the riot in Mermaid Bay, the Kingdom Army of Fishman Island also controlled the situation. New boss Jinbei, they are friends of Manderfish. They have nothing to do with this riot. It was done by Danmada and his gang. A blue fat man led the army of the Dragon Kingdom to here. This blue fat man was Jinbei, who was only 30 years old. He was originally a thug in Fishman Street and became Fisher Tiger's successor after he went out on an adventure. Later, Jinbei left Fishman Street and joined the Neptune army of the Ryugu Kingdom and became an elite member. Now he has become the boss of the Kingdom Army. Now Jinbei also has no friendly attitude towards humans and is even similar to Arlong, but more rational than him. After hearing what Zyoba said, he took people to other places. The Kingdom Army is not a useless waste. At least they stabilized the ordinary people and ended the panic here in advance. How will they deal with the situation here? New will try to capture those who make trouble, but they usually can't be caught if they run away. Even fishermen can't find all the ships in the sea. It's really a terrible management method. Hearing Zyoba's answer, Kajiro didn't know what to say. As a fisherman, even if he couldn't beat them on the island, he could let those ships escape to the sea with slaves. This is something he couldn't understand. Zyoba didn't refute Kajiro's complaints because he didn't understand this kind of thing. Perelman, do you remember the identity of that group of pirates? I remember the flag. It shouldn't be difficult to find it. That's good. Manderfish's anger should not have ended yet. This group of people can bear it. I always hear you talk about the fools in paradise. Now I seem to understand. Looking at the flag of Whitebird flying over Fishman Island, Kajiro mourned for those pirates for a few seconds. He has never seen Whitebird, but he has seen Kaido's battle. Since those people are called the Emperors of the Sea, even if there is a gap, they are monsters of the same level. He can't imagine how these people can survive in the new world if they offend these two monsters at the same time. This is a territory protected by Whitebird. Since they started to make trouble here, they have offended Whitebird. This is also the reason why the people of the world government contacted the supernova in the first half. No one dared to take on such old pirates in the new world. Only these new people who are fearless dared to do so. As for Kaido, the beasts will not get angry for any one of their members, but Manderfish is a veteran who has been in the group for many years and has shown his talent. In this case, he is naturally on the beast's blacklist. Kajiro's guess was not wrong. After Manderfish returned to Fishman Island, he first went to find Rusalka and then began to contact the members of the new world by phone. It was simply intolerable for him to let that group of people escape. If he couldn't find that group of pirates, his name would have to be written upside down. He still has this right. The situation under the command of the great pirates is almost the same. The Kadas have the right to deal with many things, including dealing with such ignorant newcomers. Where are the people from Danmada? The turmoil was basically over, but Manderfish's matter was not over yet. The group of human pirates escaped temporarily. At that time, he was busy saving Rusalka, and the Mermaid Bay was in chaos. Kajiro and his friends couldn't deal with this group of people, but there was still the group of fishmen under their noses. They were captured by Boss Jinbei. Even if there are a few left, I don't know where they went. This behavior is also a crime in Fishman Island, but Fishman Island usually only sentences people to life imprisonment for such situations. Brother Manfish, that's the prison of Fishman Island. You can't go there to kill people. Fish, forget it, they've all been captured. Under the persuasion of Zyoba and Rusalka, Manfish didn't do it, but it doesn't mean that he gave up this method. It's not good to go to the prison to kill people directly, but if they escape from prison, the result will be different. Chapter 394. After our analysis, we found that the mastermind behind this is Quinn. Manderfish had made up his mind to send all those guys away, but he had to postpone it for a few days. It was not appropriate to do it now. Manderfish also began to think about his excuses. If he did it, his identity might not be hidden. In a few days, the newspapers and wanted notices of the world government would definitely be sent here. Due to the frequent ships coming and going, it was not difficult to see the wanted notices and newspapers in Fishman Island. Although he was very troubled, Rusalka had no doubts about Manderfish's changed appearance. It was just that he spent a lot of effort to enter the room. Fortunately, he grew vertically. If he grew horizontally like Jack, Rusalka would have to tear down the door. Everything was stable in Fishman Island, but it was not the case outside. The scene of Manderfish's killing spree was photographed, and those photos were also sent back to the intelligence department of the world government. Based on this information, a special intelligence analysis meeting began. Everyone, today's meeting is very important. We have made a new breakthrough in our intelligence work. You should all be familiar with these people. On the blackboard behind him, the bounty orders for Kaido, Arceus, and Quinn were hung. The governor of the Beast's pirates, Kaido, the suspected vice captain Arceus, and their scientist, Quinn. According to the existing intelligence, we know that the beasts have a power to create people with abilities similar to the mythical beasts. According to the information obtained by our infiltrators, they call it the God's Grace ceremony internally, in which Arceus is the giver of the ability. At the same time, some people think that this is a smoker screen released by the beasts, and the real situation is that Quinn has cracked the secret of the bloodline factor. The leading agent roughly summarized the situation, which has always been a controversial issue. But today, our intelligence has made a new breakthrough. Everyone, please take a look. On the projection screen next to him, Manderfish's photo appeared on it. Since he was mainly doing scout work and had been pretending to be a fisherman on Fishman Island during this period, there were not many recent photos of Manderfish, and the wanted order also showed that he had no ability. Then, photos of him spitting fire on the world government ship and tearing the bodies of world government agents were also posted. After analysis and comparison, it can be confirmed that these two are the same person. So everyone look here again. Kaido's Dragon Man posture and Manderfish's human beast form were put together, one using heat breath and the other using flame spray. Although Manderfish's neck is longer and there are some differences in the photos, such as the shape of the dragon horns, the similarity can be said to be very high. This is the last message from a team of the world government before they were wiped out, and there are some photos captured by reporters around. The ability to deprive other ability users of their abilities has also appeared in history, but everyone knows that there is no such person in the world. Before the death of the previous generation of ability users, there will never be a second ability user. Even if it is deprived, the deprived person will die. Kaido is currently living well, but the abilities of these two people are too similar. Flying, spitting fire, and similar comparison photos were released one by one. Is it possible that they are just similar fruits? There are such fruits. There are many similar fruit abilities, such as the ton pressure fruit and the light and heavy fruit. The abilities are very similar, but the strengths are different. I don't rule out this possibility, but if there are two similar mythical beasts who are both animal type ability users, and they can fall into the hands of the same pirate group at the same time, this possibility is too small, and this is the analysis of the past situation of the 100 beasts. As he said this, some of the ability users of the 100 beasts in recent years were released. Scourge, Hold'em who had been rotated with Scourge, and even Zorora and Setsuna, Jin and Shaina and other big carders. There are many beasts with special abilities, and the known abilities are basically related to fire, lightning, and flight. The abilities of the two fur tribes are a bit beyond the scope. Then he took out the photo of King Yan Wu, and this giant fire pig weapon. Their abilities are more or less related to Kaido's abilities. In the end, we came to the conclusion that, although this special ability user named Arceus is powerful, he does not have such exaggerated abilities. This is just a smoker screen. Plague Quinn is the real mastermind behind the scenes. Manderfish's ability is the product of his cracking Kaido's bloodline factor. From the results, they have achieved good results. People's cognition will affect their speculation about things. These people living in this world instinctively use the inherent cognition of this world to understand those incredible things. Under various coincidences, this is the final conclusion they came to. I remember there is a finished product of Kaido's bloodline factor in Punk Hazard. Vegapunk insists that it is a failure and cannot be copied. It will be of great help to the next research. Can any one of you refute him? Due to Vegapunk's authority, they can't refute each other in terms of technology. That thing is not the theme of this meeting. Based on the existing intelligence, does anyone have any different opinions on this matter? Those who originally believed that Arceus was not a smoker screen, or that he gave other people abilities, also lacked key evidence to refute the other party. Their intelligence personnel were just mixed in the periphery. Faced with this mountain of iron evidence, they had to agree with this idea. So the higher-ups asked to increase the research on bloodline factors. Although we missed Quinn, an excellent person, Vegapunk cannot be inferior to him. With that Caesar current, our research may not fail. This is a theme passed by the meeting. Increasing research on similar aspects, and striving to solve the problem of bloodline factors as soon as possible. In addition, try to bring Quinn back. We need what's in his brain, so we must capture him alive. That Mandafesh. Similarly, increase the reward and plan a new plan, but this person has the ability to fly, and his strength is not weak. I'm afraid it's not so easy to capture. Quinn is still the higher priority. Understood. Due to the above reasons, they created a new bounty order, and due to Quinn's special nature, they couldn't create too exaggerated rewards, nor could they describe the reasons in detail. Initial deciphering and complete control are completely different, and they themselves don't know how far Quinn's research on the bloodline factor has progressed. In short, when the bounty order was spread, the impact was like this. In the room of Gideo, Quinn looked at his new bounty order with an innocent face. Epidemic Quinn, bounty of 1 billion Baileys, only alive. Chapter 395 Kaido second in the Miracle Seed. Quinn became the third high-value bounty criminal in the Beast's Pirates with a bounty of 1 billion, and the person with the highest bounty on the big billboard. He was also the only one who doubled his bounty without even leaving Wano country. Not bad, Quinn. You are already the Kaido with the highest bounty, and you only need to capture him alive. Interesting. Really interesting. Shaina didn't say a single curse word, but this tone made Quinn very confused. Are those people sick? What on earth have they made up in their minds? These people shouldn't be in the intelligence department. They should go to work at Morgan's newspaper office. As a pirate, he was not afraid of his high bounty. If he really did something to cause the bounty to increase, he would be happy. But he didn't massacre the city or destroy the country, and he didn't attack the navy. He just honestly did research on Onigashima, taught others, and had to go through Kaido's training, and occasionally was beaten and dissed. But even if he didn't do anything, the bounty was still rising, like crazy like a rocket. Although he knew that he could be used as a smoker screen, the imagination of those brain-filled monsters made him a little scared. What if they feel that they have threatened the safety of the world one day? Thinking of that terrible situation, Quinn's forehead began to sweat. In fact, he didn't know that if he hadn't done anything, and was worried that he would attract the attention of other ambitious people by exaggerating too much, his bounty would be even higher. If Kaido didn't have enough deterrence now, and the terrain of Wano country was too special, the advance team would have set off. It should be that Mandafesh did something. This guy lived up to the expectations of the Holy Beast and finally evolved. Ignoring Quinn, Shaina looked at Mandafesh's bounty order instead. By the way, don't talk nonsense here. Where is the information about Ammonite? I'm here to get this. Wait, I'll deliver it myself later. I think this world is a bit dangerous. I want to strengthen protection. Quinn didn't even pay attention to Mandafesh's bounty order. He took the things and went to Onigashima directly. He needed a stronger power to ensure his life safety. At the same time, in Onigashima, Yamato and the others were also reading newspapers. Reading newspapers every day was considered to be a way to understand world events. Uncle Quinn's bounty has increased again. Tens, hundreds, thousands, or billions? Is Uncle Quinn that strong? Looking at the inflated bounty on Quinn, Yamato was very puzzled. After all, in her opinion, Quinn was the weakest among the senior cadres. Jin and Shaina were very rude to him. The bounty is not necessarily based on strength. Didn't Mr. Arceus say that? Robin stared at the newspaper. She paid more attention to the news from the outside world than Yamato and the others. Robin, does the second mean a son? It depends on the situation. Sometimes it can refer to a son, and sometimes it is just a descendant or an heir. Why are you asking this? Because of this bounty. Godfather, is Mandafesh your father's illegitimate son? Looking at the bounty in front of him, Arceus understood why Yamato asked this. Kaido second, Mandafesh, bounty of 200 million berries. Kaido second, these guys are really bold. Mandafesh has nothing to do with your father. It's just an exaggerated name. Is that so? Of course, but if your father really has an illegitimate child outside, he might be a pirate. When I met him. Okay, lunch break is over. Let's continue training. A group of people were pulled to the training ground again, and in the physical training ground on one side, Ulti worked very hard. She now knew one thing, that the two fruits were deliberately given to her, and page 1 by Kaido and Arceus. Although the training was hard, at least the beasts were pretty good to them. As the children of pirates, she had seen other people fighting for a fruit. She originally thought that it was stolen by herself, but it turned out that everything was the other party's indulgence. She didn't like charity, so she had to prove that she and page 1 were worthy of the two fruits. At this time, Kaido appeared here. He came to check the results of the training. Are you the one who practiced with these little guys today? Where's Shaina? I went to find Quinn to process the information. As he was talking, Quinn and Shaina appeared here one after another. When he saw Kaido and Arceus, Quinn gave up his moral integrity and ran to the two of them. Brother Kaido, Brother Arceus, help me. Holding his bounty order, Quinn looked tragic. Help me, my lords. Look at those bastards of the world government. They want my life. Doesn't it say that they can only be captured alive? Quinn, you think too much. Show some courage. What's wrong with this? Kaido didn't take Quinn's words to heart. After all, it clearly said that they wanted to be captured alive. No, Brother Kaido, those guys in the world government are all imaginary monsters. If I'm really captured and can't give them what they want, they will think I'm just being stubborn in the end. There is a saying that life is worse than death. Quinn imagined all kinds of terrible things in his mind, and he was almost suffering from paranoia. Lord Arceus, since my stand is so good, shouldn't you give me more life-saving abilities? That way I can better attract firepower, or you will have to step on the stage. On this day, the new generation of the Beast's pirates saw how eloquent Quinn was. He explained his importance like a crosstalk, and finally, under his argument, Arceus strengthened him as he wished. For example, in terms of skills, he helped him perfect the special skill set of parasitic seeds plus guarding plus stand, a tactic that disgusted the enemy. Most animal type ability users are like blood cows. This skill set is very suitable for Quinn. Even if the enemy is stronger than him, he can try to grind the opponent to death. At the same time, he gave Quinn another seed. Lord Arceus, what is this? Do you want to cultivate it? No, this is a special prop. You can carry it with you in the future. Don't you always make strange changes to yourself? Let it stay in your body. Special prop. Resurrection grass? Arceus gave them sit-up props at the beginning, but no one has used it so far. No, but it's almost like that. It can make you a little stronger. Carrying the item Miracle Seed can increase the power of Quinn's grass type skills. Arceus has made a gesture, and Kaido feels that as a captain, he should do something, so he decided to personally prepare a special training for Quinn. Chapter 396, The Lone Brave Man. Special training? Hearing Kaido say this, Quinn was not very happy. The reason why he came to Arceus was that he hoped that the other party could strengthen his ability. After all, this way he would not need to be too tired. The result was also very good. He got several skills and a strengthening item. Kaido's training was not so happy. Yes, you should have special training. No matter how useful your abilities and skills are, you have to be strong. The stronger you are, the stronger the skills you can use. Recently, new people have risen one by one. You can't relax. Let's put aside some unimportant things first. Tomorrow. No, let's start today. I will train you well. Kaido took out his 8 precepts from somewhere, shook it twice in his hand, and then walked towards Quinn. Wait. Brother Kaido, I don't think there's a need to rush. Huh? Do you look down on my special training? No, that's not what I mean. Then what do you mean? Just let me check the results of your hacky training, and let these little guys see, so that they know that their current training is just playing house, and it's not time to get serious yet. He picked up the mace and rushed over. Not long after, even though Quinn had a fairly proficient armed color hacky and a strengthened body, he still started screaming under Kaido's special training. Sister, is this our future training? When they met Kaido before, the massacre outside was basically over, so they didn't see Kaido take action. Although Quinn was just screaming, the broken ground and the concave walls showed that he was not pretending. If this is their future training, he thinks he might die here. Sister? Page 1 didn't wait for Ulti's answer, because Ulti was already sluggish at this time. Don't be afraid, father still knows his limits, he won't use such great force on us. Yamato on the side tried to comfort Ulti and Page 1, but it seemed to have no effect. Quinn, who was ravaged on the training ground, made her realize how terrible Kaido was. Quinn, you've seen it too. Even if Arceus gave you skills, you still can't do it if you're not strong enough. You've obviously been slacking off during this period. Cheer up. Wait. Brother Kaido, is it possible that it's not me who has become weaker, but you who has become stronger? Stop talking nonsense. You still have the energy to answer, which means you still have some strength left. I'm going to increase my strength. Quinn also wanted to shout for help, but it was meaningless. Yamato's cry for help occasionally got a response, but no one paid attention to Quinn's cry for help. While Quinn was being abused unilaterally, Shaina also came to Arceus. Master Shenju, this is the information sent back by Kojiro. He thinks the development of Fishman Island is very promising. Tesoro has the same view. In addition, Mandafesh has used some of his men to hunt down a pirate group that has just entered the new world. It is this year's supernova, and it is quite powerful. Aren't Mandafesh and Pearman in Fishman Island? They are in Fishman Island, and the station of the beasts must be guarded by Carters. If you just send someone, they may not be a match for the supernova. It was Scourge. After he was transferred back there, he happened to be patrolling the area, so he went to help Mandafesh. And this person, Master Shenju, I admire his courage. Although he said so, Arceus heard Shaina smile. What's wrong? Look at this. Morgans calls him a warrior, and even the underground casinos in the new world have opened a deal for this person. Shaina took out a new newspaper. The bounty order was today's morning newspaper, and this one was a special edition that was reprinted. The lone hero who challenged 3 sea emperors at the same time. This is exactly the person that Mandafesh wants to kill. Since the Whitebird pirates began to protect Fishman Island, even if there are pirates who cause trouble, they are petty thefts. It is very rare to cause such a riot. Therefore, the Whitebird pirates regarded him as a typical example. Not only did they ask their pirates to catch him, they even sent Captain Nama of the 8th Division to hunt him down, because Nama was originally a fishman, so they handed the matter over to him. At the same time, the group also did something very heroic. They fled Fishman Island in a hurry. Although they escaped the first wave of pursuit by the beasts, the supplies on the ship were almost lost, and they urgently needed to replenish supplies. They happened to encounter a transport ship full of fruits. They thought it was lucky, but in fact it was the beginning of misfortune, because it was the transport ship of the Big Mom pirates. The desserts on the ship were obtained from an island in the West Sea, which is considered a specialty of the West Sea. Perospero strengthened the protection of the key materials produced by the beasts, but ignored these consumables in the open sea. Eventually, several brothers and sisters failed to get some things in time. This was not a big deal. After all, Charlotte Linlen's food cravings did not occur. However, it just triggered another situation. That is, Charlotte Linlen's maternal love for children under 10 years old. This is a periodic trigger. Once triggered, Charlotte Linlen will become a gentle and kind mother. The brothers and sisters are sad, and he, the eldest son, will naturally be scolded. Now the 5th son of the Charlotte family, Charlotte Opera, is also leading people to hunt them down. In comparison, the intensity of the beast's pursuit is the lightest. After they were called the Emperors of the Sea, this was the first time that someone offended 3 pirate groups at the same time. Although Morgans didn't know why the beasts were hunting them, it didn't matter anymore. In addition to serious major events, such gossip was also his focus. For such a lucky warrior, he naturally had to promote it well. The underground casino opened his handicap because of this. As for the gambling content, it was about which pirate group he would die under. As for escaping, it was impossible for them to do so. Unless he also has the potential to become the Emperor of the Sea, there is no way he can escape this disaster. They are almost isolated and helpless in the new world. No one dares to risk offending Beast, Whitebird, and Big Mom at the same time to invest in a newcomer, so Morgans called him a lone hero. Similarly, as the news spread, the news about Manderfish also spread to Fishman Island. Holding the newspaper and wanted order in his hand, Manderfish is thinking about how to confront Rusalka. His previous information has been exposed. As long as Rusalka sees the newspaper, she will understand everything. It's just that the paper is not easy to store in Fishman Island, and the new newspaper can still be seen. Chapter 397. The reason for exposure is too dull. Brother Manderfish, haven't you figured out what to do? Jack asked Manderfish, who was worried. Since the battle that day, this kind of thing has happened from time to time. Although he is still learning Fishman Karate and Fishman Judo from Haku, he is full of energy. Haku's hard training is as easy as vacation to Jack. No matter what kind of fighting skills, physical fitness is the top priority, and Jack's physical fitness has long been honed by Kaido. Moreover, he has some of the things that Yamato enjoyed when he was a child, although his quantity is slightly different from Yamato's unlimited supply. Such a tempered physique plus the blessing of the King Bronze Elephant on the body is similar to the animal type ability users. Even if they do not enter the transformation state, their abilities have a certain blessing on the body. Jack's physical fitness is stronger than some adult fishmen, so he can get straight to the point, but because of his living environment, he is now experiencing the water flow, so that he can gradually learn to use the water flow. Jack, this is an adult matter, you don't understand, but you who grew up with girls probably don't understand this problem either. The evolved Manderfish got rid of the embarrassing situation that his younger brother was much taller than him, but it was not too embarrassing. Many things within the Beast's pirates were polarized. The same was true for height. Led by Kaido, Jin and others were taller than ordinary people, while there were also slightly shorter members led by Zorora and Alga. The genes in this world are very strange, so unless there are some special occasions, no one cares about the height issue. Jack has never thought about this issue, and he doesn't think it's a happy thing to grow up with girls. Basically no one can understand how he felt when he saw page 1. Huh. Okay Jack, you wait for me here. Life and death are determined by fate, and wealth and honor are determined by God. He scratched Jack's head, then knocked on the door, and leaned into the room. He thought Jack had a unique affinity with women, and planned to borrow some of his luck. Kaido second? In the room, looking at the newspaper from where Manderfish came from, Rusalka looked at his title in confusion. Kaido is your father? She didn't care much about the news from the outside world, so she was not familiar with the specific situation of humans. Many fishmen and mermaids were like this. Although they were not isolated from the world like Zal, the frequency of contact with the outside world was still very low. Many children did not understand what land was and what humans were, so their understanding of humans depended on what they saw with their own eyes. This was also the reason why many people were resistant to humans. Otterheim's daily speech was meant to popularize the situation of humans and land to the children of the fishmen. No, I don't know why those people in the world government gave such a title. Kaido is the governor of my pirate group. Oh, that is, the captain. He had already told the other party that he was a pirate. Because of the Whitebird pirates, the attitude of Fishman Island towards pirates was not so resistant. Captain, is he the same as Uncle Whitebird? Yes, but the governor is definitely better than Whitebird, and he will definitely be the pirate king. Given Whitebird's current status in Fishman Island, he didn't say anything else, but he firmly believed that Kaido would not lose to Whitebird. Nowadays, there is such a personal worship in the royal group, or most pirates have a belief in their captains. The title of Pirate King is the initial goal of many pirates to go to sea. However, whether it will change during the voyage is uncertain. Halfway through the words, Mandafesh suddenly stopped, which made Rusalka feel a little strange. In the past, he couldn't shut up at all, and this silence could be said to be very abnormal. After a moment of silence, Mandafesh finally decided to get straight to the point. Forget it, Rusalka, I'm sorry, there is something I have been lying to you about. As he said this, Mandafesh turned a page of the newspaper, where there was a comparison between his human appearance and the appearance of a capable person. Actually, I'm a human. As he said this, the blue scales on the outside of his body gradually faded, and his figure gradually shrank, and finally turned into his original appearance. However, Rusalka's reaction was completely different from what he thought. She was not angry or anything, but laughed directly. Hahaha, you finally said it? You knew it a long time ago. It can't be said that I knew it, but I just felt that something was wrong. You told me that you were from Fishman Street, and a few years later you became a pirate, right? That's right. But you don't have any common sense about Fishman. Although I'm not familiar with Fishman Street, how could a fisherman who grew up there not know anything at all? At first, Mandafesh would only meet him when he passed by Fishman Island, and he would always bring some new things from the land, so there was no problem. But as Mandafesh stayed in Fishman Island for a long time, the two spent more and more time together, and some flaws appeared. At that time, I felt that you were not a fishman, but at that time I also felt your feelings. I just wanted to see when you would tell me the truth. Rusalka's words were also a little false. The real situation was that she had hinted at the other party in various ways. If the other party was a fishman, even a piece of wood should understand what she meant, but Mandafesh just didn't understand. This is the same as the fact that humans don't understand the fur tribe's culture. Zerora learned the fur tribe's habits from Setsuna bit by bit. Setsuna was very young at that time, and the fur tribe was more naive, so they didn't find any problems. But Rusalka is different. In a sense, Mandafesh, who didn't know how to speak, delayed his life for a while. You were very talkative before. Why can't you speak now? Didn't I tell you when you asked me about my opinion on humans? Although I don't like it very much, I don't particularly oppose it, but you are in the state of a superpower, right? Why can you swim? This is also the reason why Rusalka didn't make it clear. She suspected that Mandafesh was not a fishman, but she was not sure. The fundamental reason was his ability. The news on Fishman Island was not so blocked that it was like Wano country, where people didn't even know what superpowers were. There were even many people who ate the fruit, but didn't know they were superpowers. Therefore, the fact that Mandafesh could swim broke Rusalka's inherent cognition. That's the great power of that adult, let me tell you. As Mandafesh began to preach the Arceus religion, Jack outside the door witnessed the passage of time. This Mandafesh spoke very quickly, and it was completely different. Just as he was waiting bored, a royal queue appeared outside. Chapter 398, Kachiro Chamber of Commerce's branch plan for Fishman Island. The speed at which the royal family receives news is bound to be faster than that of ordinary people, so the news of Mandafesh was naturally seen by the royal family. Unlike Rusalka, who knew nothing about the outside world, Neptune, as the king of the kingdom of Ryugu, was still aware of the situation on the sea. He and Whitebird were friends, and Whitebird had many fishermen under his command, so Whitebird would lend the flag to Fishman Island. However, Mandafesh's identity was a cadre of the Beast's pirates, and he was not an ordinary pirate at all. However, this was not the reason why the royal team of the kingdom of Ryugu came here. Not to mention that Mandafesh did nothing. Even if he did something, Neptune could not react to it. By then, the conflict had risen to the conflict between the two major pirate groups of Beasts and Whitebird. With the foundation of the kingdom of Ryugu, they could only choose to wait for the result. The person who came here was Otterheim, and she came here not for official business, but to see what the state of this human and mermaid was. Because only a very few people on Fishman Island agreed with her point of view, if a human and a mermaid came together, it would be more hope for her. Meanwhile, Mandafesh was also discussing a problem with Rusalka. Rusalka, come with me. Go. You saw what happened today. The young man from Paradise, and some scum from Fishman Street. The island I'm in charge of is very close to Fishman Island. Come live there with me, I can better protect you there. Even though 100 Beasts was planning to set up a mining branch on Fishman Island, Mandafesh was not too confident that Rusalka would stay here alone. If he encountered such a thing again when he was away, he would not know what to do. It would be different if they were on another island. Although they would occasionally encounter enemies, there would be no problems inside, and the safety level would definitely be higher than Fishman Island. Let's talk about it next year. Next year? Why wait until next year? Next year I will be 30 years old. 30 years old is a very special age for female mermaids, not because they are turning 30 or aging, but because female mermaids after the age of 30 will gain a new ability, the ability to transform their fishtails into legs. Mermaids of that age will not have to rely on bubble corals to move in a waterless environment like they do now. Kokoro of the Seven Waters is an example. Although Luffy called her a monster grandmother, she was also a great beauty when she was young. Mandafesh knew that mermaids can turn their tails into legs when they are 30 years old. Otterheim, who was outside the door, wanted to see what the two looked like, but stopped at the last moment. What's wrong, princess? Don't you want to come and see? There's no need for that. It's better not to disturb them. Her natural observation color detected the two very happy auras, and she didn't intend to disturb them at this time. And we seem to have new guests. Not far away, Kajiro and Perman appeared here. The things he brought had been sold out. At this time, his business sense told him that Fishman Island was a very good market. The deep sea environment makes it rare for this place to communicate with the outside world. Whether it is fishermen or mermaids, including the kingdom of Ryugu, they do not have the ability to purchase on land on a large scale. Most pirates will not carry goods. Occasionally, some merchants will pass by here, but facing the high risk, these merchants ask for very high prices for their goods. The things that Kajiro sold at the market price outside were quickly bought out, which already showed the purchasing power here, so he wanted to talk to the owner of Fishman Island. Originally, he came to discuss some things with Mandafesh, but he didn't expect to meet Otterheim. With a tried attitude, he wanted to stop the other party, but unexpectedly, Otterheim stopped directly. Wait. Don't get closer. Seeing Kajiro approaching, the soldiers around him became nervous. They also knew that Otterheim's fragile body was very dangerous to Otterheim. It's okay, don't be nervous, I didn't detect his malice. So human friend, do you have anything to say? It's not a big deal, but I want to open a department store in Fishman Island to see if I can open a department store in Fishman Island. In addition, there are some big businesses which are related to the entire Fishman tribe. I wonder if Your Excellency the Princess is interested in this? Otterheim was of course interested in this matter. Although Whitebird protected this place, he only protected this place. His own income was invested in the construction of his hometown. He didn't have any extra spare money to develop the deep sea Fishman Island. Moreover, the Whitebird pirates did not have the channels and technology. A human wanted to trade with Fishman Island, which was what Otterheim wanted most. So at Otterheim's invitation, Kajiro followed them to the kingdom of Ryugu. While Kajiro was heading to the kingdom of Ryugu, a red fishman appeared near Fishman Island. He was Fisher Tiger, the fishman that those people wanted to capture. Although he was a fishman adventurer, he was captured and made a slave 3 years ago. Those people from the world government acted too quickly, even faster than Fisher Tiger himself. Finally returning to his hometown, Fisher Tiger's face finally showed joy, and he swam towards the direction of Fishman Street. At the same time, the head of the world government's intelligence analysis department was scolding several subordinates. Why didn't you find information about this creature before? Several pieces of information were thrown in their faces. There were some biologists' analysis reports on Gyarados. After several days of delay, they found some similarities. Sir, according to regulations, in order to prevent information leaks, several branches of the intelligence department cannot exchange intelligence privately without the permission of the department leader. So what? So, we are responsible for pirates, and marine life is not within our research scope. Then why was it reported today? Because the leader of the marine biology department discovered the common points of this matter during the information exchange, and only sent the news after a secondary analysis. Listening to his subordinate's explanation of the regulations of this department, the leader of the pirate intelligence department had bulging veins on his forehead. Then don't you know that you have to collect all relevant information when investigating intelligence? The rules are dead and the living are alive, won't you ask me? Why did a waste like you enter the intelligence department? Give me. Just as he was scolding again, his confidant suddenly pulled him. Sir, this is someone arranged by Spandine. Go and have a good rest for a few days. I will arrange a leisurely job for you. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 399, Gyarados being studied. Tiger returns. The words of his confidant made him take back the curse words that followed. Spandine had a powerful backer, and he couldn't afford to offend that guy. Looking at this person with connections in front of him, he had to endure it this time, and decided to find him a place to eat and wait for death from now on. He hated this kind of people with connections the most. If there was a credit, he would have to take his share. If something went wrong, he would definitely not find such a person to take the blame. This matter has little impact, right? Not much. To be precise, this is the situation discovered by the scientific forces, and then it was passed to us. Where is Vegapunk? That's right. Okay, I get it. You continue to do your own thing and hand over all the things in that kid's hands as soon as possible. If this delays the big things, it will be over. Remember, don't arrange this kind of thing for this kind of people with connections in the future. I don't know where this nerd came from. After dealing with all these people and summarizing the new information and sending it up, he took out a small den mushy. Sir, it's me. Do you remember me? I have a problem. To be able to reach his position, he must have some ability, but he is a leader, not a frontline agent. So in addition to ability, obedience and interpersonal relationships are also very important. Spandine can push his useless son to the position of CP9 leader. In the final analysis, Spandine and Spandam are very obedient to the superiors and will fulfill all the tasks mentioned above. Although the creature Gyarados is not as ubiquitous as Magikarp, it has also caused a certain impact. Originally, they thought it was just an ordinary sea beast, but now it seems that it is clearly a special modified creature. Now in the file of Gyarados, a label suspected to be Quinn's test product has been added. It is not uncommon to release modified creatures into the sea. Even Vegapunk has done this. At this time, outside a research institute in the New World, a cargo ship was escorting 2 water tanks, which contained sleeping Gyarados. They spent a lot of effort and suffered certain casualties to capture them. Why do we have to catch this kind of monster? Don't ask questions that you shouldn't ask. This kind of thing has nothing to do with us. There are 2 reasons for capturing Gyarados. One is that Vegapunk wants to see if Quinn, his former teammate, is really so talented that he can do such a thing. On the other hand, he recently had an idea for a mechanical sea beast army. Vegapunk has a lot of ideas in his mind, and he often thinks about it. Although he is now under the control of the world government, he also wants to use their funds. After all, scientific research is a huge expense. Quinn, Athi, and Akin spend a lot of money every year to conduct research on similar projects. Because he felt that he didn't have enough time, Vegapunk even created his own clones and let many of himself conduct research together. His mechanical sea beast army has limited achievements, so he naturally has enough interest in the magical creature that is Gyarados. And about the relationship between Gyarados and Magikarp, these people have not yet reached a conclusion. Few people have seen the scene of Magikarp's evolution, and even those who have seen it have not left any evidence because of shock. If we have to find someone who has done the most research on evolution, it should be Nico Robin at this time. Only those who belong to the beasts have the opportunity to closely contact evolution at this time, but even if they do, they cannot understand why this power is generated. No one could have thought that the inconspicuous Magikarp would become like that after evolution. When Tiger returned to Fishman Island, the Fishman Street was not peaceful. Unlike Rusalka's own guesses, and unlike the shock of Mandafish's friends, some people simply could not accept Mandafish's identity, such as Arlang. He didn't say anything when he was knocked down by a fishman. Tiger, Jinbei, and many fishmen could do this, but he was defeated by a human underwater, which hit his self-esteem. Why can humans breathe underwater? How can humans do that? This is impossible. Brother Arlang, stop it. What are you going to do? Seeing Arlang suddenly pick up a weapon and want to leave here, several younger brothers hurriedly hugged him. Let go, don't stop me. No, Brother Arlang, you are no match for him. Hearing this, Arlang seemed to be even more angry, but at this time a voice calmed him down. Arlang, what are you doing? Why are you still so irritable after so many years? Big brother? Tiger has a transcendent status in Fishman Street. Most of the fishmen from Fishman Street respect him very much, and Tiger is basically the only one who can absolutely command Arlang. Ah, how have you been these years? How about Jinbei? Fortunately, Jinbei became the leader of the Kingdom Army. Big brother, where have you been these years? Why is there no news at all? Some private matters, I guess I got a taste of this world. He didn't want to mention the life of a slave at all. If possible, he would never mention those years in his life. Why are you still so irritable? What happened? Big brother, this is it. Looking at the newspaper in his hand and Arlang's description, Tiger seemed to understand something. You mean he was red before? Yeah, and he looks a bit like you, big brother. I see, Arun, let's just forget about it. He knew better than anyone why the world government's ship appeared here. It can be said that Mandafish took the blame for him, and although he hated the celestial dragons, he did not extend that emotion to all humans. Okay, since you said so, big brother, let's forget it. Aaron didn't even ask why. To be honest, he felt strange about Mandafish. His behavior in the past few years can be said to have helped a lot of fish people, so he couldn't accept it when he knew the other party's identity. With Tiger's request, he just agreed to it naturally. Okay, you guys do whatever you want. I'm going to see King Neptune. I see, big brother. I'll go and inform others. Your return is a big deal. In Ryugu Castle, Neptune was looking at the deal proposed by Kajiro. He didn't take it seriously that he wanted to open a department store on Fishman Island, and he agreed directly when Kajiro proposed it. But facing the mining and arms orders proposed by Kajiro, he hesitated. Why, King Neptune, you are the king of a country, so you should know the importance of weapons. Excuse me, the quality of the weapons on Fishman Island is too poor. If you change them, at least you can improve your ability to protect your citizens. Chapter 400, Mining and the Prelude to Yamato's Voyage. Unlike other long-term transactions, a single large-scale transaction is more profitable with arms. The deep-sea environment of Fishman Island has higher requirements for weapons. Old-fashioned muskets may not fire at all due to the moisture of gunpowder. Although Fishman Island is not the territory of the beasts, they always sell arms only to see whether the other party has money. He can come here to estimate the commercial value of Fishman Island because he has this ability, which is his talent in business. Excluding hostility, the beasts generally have three attitudes towards islands. The first is similar to the basic plate of Wano country. This is the main base of the pirate group. It is not only occupied, but also vigorously developed. The second is similar to the shelter of Sky Island, providing flags to ensure the safety here and collecting the island's unique assets as a return every year. In addition, there is a third type, that is, only doing business, not providing flag protection, and at most free shipping, such as the Krakana Island, where the Kingdom of West Kael was located. Fishman Island is the third case. There are no special products on the island. Although the location is critical, it is in the deep sea. If you really want to occupy it, the investment is too large, and it is not worth it now. Moreover, the most worthwhile thing to use is the power of the fishman. There is no need to occupy this place at all. He just wants to hire some fishermen. And this is also related to the general policy he got before leaving Onigashima. Now occupying Fishman Island will start a war with Whitebird. Although it doesn't matter to start a war, it is not in the best interests. Even if Whitebird is dealt with, it will be difficult to digest such a large territory, and at the same time, he will have to face the backstab of the world government. In addition, the relationship between Whitebird and Neptune will have to make a big change in Fishman Island at that time. There is no need to do anything. After Whitebird dies, Fishman Island will take the initiative to find a new protector. The meaning of taking the initiative to find it is completely different from that of others begging for it. Arms. We are not interested in arms. How about talking about your mining plan? Otterheim is not interested in this business. Fishman Island is not without weapons, but the quality is much worse than that of the weapons made by the beasts. But in Otterheim's opinion, these are enough for Fishman Island. Well, since the princess is not interested, forget it. Anyway, Fishman Island is not their territory, and the problems of Fishman Island's ideology and personnel strength are more serious than weapons. In Kajero's opinion, Fishman Island's behavior is stupid, but he has no reason to interfere. He is not a royal family here. Then let's talk about the mining problem. In general, we have two plans. The first is that Fishman Island provides labor to find suitable things for us in the deep sea, notify us after finding them, and work as miners. We will pay the personnel for their labor. The second is that you give us the ore after mining, and we will purchase the ore at a suitable price. Is there any difference? Of course there is. One is to calculate the working hours, and the other is to calculate the products. The latter will earn you more, but the former will make it easier for you to integrate into the human group. By the way, this transaction has nothing to do with the pirate group, but a serious business behavior. This is our business license, and it can be circulated even in Mirajoa. The 100 Beasts Fruit is a serious company. Although those people have long known the truth about its cover, they still chose to turn a blind eye to the huge profit. This is a plan. You two can think about it slowly. I will stay here for a while and study things like department stores. He could not explain those things clearly, even if he talked for a few days, so he just left the plan and left here. Next, he would find out the consumption capacity of Fishman Island through the department store, so as to formulate a suitable wage system here. Although there are many dangers in deep sea mining, such as lack of suitable equipment and dangerous sea beasts, that is not the problem he wants to think about. What kind of problems will be handled by Pokemon, and what he has to do is just to negotiate. Looking at the plan, Otterheim was a little moved. The meaning of close relationship with a pirate group and close relationship with a formal enterprise is completely different. The Kingdom of Ryugu is a member country on the surface. If it really wants to enter the public's field of vision, it cannot rely on its relationship with the Whitebird pirates. Although the people protected by Whitebird think that Whitebird is a good leader, for most people in the world, especially ordinary people who can only get all the information from the world government, pirates are still an absolute evil party. In addition to the admiration of some young people, the hatred of the navy, the greed of bounty hunters, the great pirates in the four seas also have the fear of ordinary people. Neptune, I think this is an opportunity to have friendly contact with people on land. Otterheim. Your Majesty Neptune, Fisher Tiger has returned from his trip. He has already arrived outside the Dragon Palace. A fishman soldier reported the specific situation, and Otterheim and Neptune also paused the topic and let Tiger enter here. He is an outstanding adventurer and traveler who travels around the world. He is deeply trusted and respected by the Dragon Palace. Some of the information about the land on Fishman Island was brought back by him, but this time his news was also Otterheim and Neptune. I want to save the slaves of Mirajoa. After telling some things, Fisher Tiger said a very shocking topic. Outside the residence of Rusoka in Coral Hill, Zyrobash's 6 arms operated the takoyaki machine. At this time, he was already able to make takoyaki skillfully. In addition, there were Haku and several fishmen brothers of Manderfish. Brother Manderfish, they still can't accept your human identity and have left. This matter is also expected. Not everyone can accept this kind of thing. Boss, they also have their own difficulties with your status. I know, I don't blame them, but it's a pity. I quite like these guys. Those fishmen have also followed him for a while, and they have always taken good care of their younger brother Manderfish. Zyro Bay, Big Brother Tiger is back. Aren't you going to see him? New, it's not too late. I heard that he went to Ryugu Castle, and it's just right to bring him some takoyaki. On the Onigashima Island, a new voyage is also being prepared. The 12-year-old Jack has started his maiden voyage, and so has Yamato, who is the same age. Mariah and Robin, who are older than her, are also traveling with them. At this time, she is studying the Atlas and is discussing with Mariah and the others which island to choose as the destination for this voyage. The purpose of this voyage is not to explore or play, but a real trial. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.